everybody. Gonna be a quiet one indeed. Cheers. I saw Rod thinking the same thing. Cheers. Happy Wednesday, everybody, huh? We don't need no president-elect to kick off the GME live stream, right? Nor do we need an update. You know it's still happening, of course. Cheers, everybody. But Rod, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, gotta be a quiet one today, right? I mean, everyone's still focused on the election, too, right? Of course. But on the GME front, ain't shit to talk about. There's a couple of things I pulled up, but no real update, right? And now officially, less than a week until the new console's coming out. So, I mean, that kind of impacts my thinking a little bit now. We're this close to the new consoles, trying to think through any potential, like, news type stuff, right? I've been thinking through that. Now we're so close. It's upon us, right? But then after that, you get the holiday season and so forth, so that type of stuff. But really, not much else. The only thing I saw was really this. You see this? What is this? I don't know if this is legit. I don't know if this is real, but think about the optics, right? I mean, that's even if it's something that they might be working for. Even I saw the headline. I'm like, wait, what? You know what I mean? I thought that was kind of odd. You know what I mean? And they got flacked a while back, a number of months back. But I think, what the heck? Anyway, the TikTok stuff's kind of fun, right? A lot of people are interested in that type of thing these days. So kind of a fun concept, right? But the whole workout was a little bit odd. I thought, just from an optics standpoint, you know, because even I was like, what? Is that a real thing? Oh shit! Oh, did they? Oh shit! I just saw this. Techno is super weird. Yeah, okay. So Jordan says the same. It was just weird. That's all. I was just like, what? What's going on here? First of all, we got a small group. We got 23. Cheers, everybody. Welcome. Cody, welcome back, Cody. How you doing, Johan? Rod, welcome. Eric Whitkey, the intros are sick. Oh, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Sick. Steve Stonk, welcome. Steve Stonk. On these quiet days, we're keeping an eye out for the sick work that you're doing. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're looking for some entertainment. I'm like, oh, I hope I see some sick gifs out there on quiet days like this, right, Steve? Eduardo, welcome back. Daily, cheers. All right, we still got a crew. Jordan's here too. I saw that, Jordan. So that's right. We'll talk about the election a bit, right? I mean, first of all, the crazy ass election, right? Let me just pull up the market. Crazy. I mean, just crazy. I talk about the whole probability stuff. We were talking about that a bit, and then, but it was. I mean, Biden was a favorite going into it, right? And then, just a couple hours later, then Trump was a huge favorite, and Biden looked. We talk about probabilities and stuff. I think I saw it drop to like 20%. The odds. That was super. Talk about value investor. That was super undervalued given how early it was in the night because of the mail-in type stuff. You know what I mean? And even I was like, that's kind of low. I mean, I'm no expert on this stuff. I just talk about probabilities that it swung so quick in favor of Trump, right? And I'm like, it's still kind of early for that type of stuff. And then it swung back. I mean, easy to say now, but I was thinking that. I'm like, I don't know about this. And then it's still going on right now. I was watching some of the stuff upstairs. I'm like, wow, it's still going on. And it looks like it could be. It looks like Biden could win with an even 270, right? It looks real close. And then you're wondering how Trump's going to react to some of this stuff. I know he's been tweeting stuff. I haven't been able to see all of it. But that's like the question mark now. But like, talk about a crazy, and people were talking about this, that it could be this just nutty outcome type stuff. And you're kind of getting it. I'm like, whoa, it's kind of happening here, right? And so we'll see what happens. Right now, last I saw, it looked like it was tilted in favor of Biden, but you never know with that last minute stuff, which is what people were saying yesterday, right? They kept on saying, like, it's still early. I'm like, they're right. It is still early, right? I mean, long-term value investors, we know that shit, right? We know it's still early. And I'm like, whoa, it just swung so quickly in favor of Trump. I'm like, it should slow down, right? Because it's obvious. I just figured it's going to be close to that. I think what happened was, and some folks are talking about this, right? I think people were betting on a landslide maybe in favor of Biden. Maybe some people were betting on that, which didn't seem likely in my opinion. Like I was talking about, Trump was the incumbent and so forth. And then when it appeared as though it wasn't going to be a landslide, I think people panicked, just like you see in the market. I'm no expert on the betting markets, politics or anything like that. I really have no clue. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Could have been live streaming last night during. You know what I mean? And then it bounced back, and then I woke up. I'm like, wow, okay, it's kind of changed a bit. So we'll see what happens from here on out. Just kind of curious. But anyway, the market was all over the place as well, just like the predictions were. And so I was curious. I'm like, well, what the hell is the market going to do tomorrow? And look at this. What an outcome. Who just said that? Oh, Jordan was saying, yeah, value sucked. It was those small caps, right? Did it end flat? Oh, this is futures? No, this is today. Oh, it ended just flat. But yeah, really an underperformance relative to, let's do this. IWM relative to SPX. That was something to see. I'll do SPY. Really, I mean, it ended up a little bit, but it was quite the dip down. Even I was like, that's kind of a stark contrast in the returns on the day. And again, it turned up green, but I was like, whoa, I don't really know what to, I don't weight that stuff too heavily. It's just kind of caught my attention, as we often talk about. And then today, yeah, but big on the NASDAQ, right? Whoo! And then there's there's a lot of the other, there's a lot of politics stuff going on that, like how people are thinking about this stuff. I don't have any strong opinions as to, talk about the Senate and stuff. I don't know about that, but that I'm sure is weighing on some people's thoughts as to their knee-jerk reaction is the NASDAQ's going to keep cranking. You know what I mean? What has been working for the past couple of years, that's the knee-jerk reaction. You got to wait a week, 2 weeks, couple of months, see how the market is actually digesting this stuff. But I'm always interested. I'm always intrigued to see what's that knee-jerk reaction, right? And it was something to see because the market, Russell was down even more. So that was something to see. So who else? Okay, so Jordan said that. Yeah. Get a PR tomorrow, Friday. Oh, you think so, Jordan? You think we'll get PR tomorrow, Friday? Okay. I'm not so sure about that. Now, you know what I mean? It's possible. I'd almost think, Jordan, that it's more... Let me know your thoughts on this and anybody. I'm almost think it's more likely that you'd get it next week at this point. But maybe not. I know people will talk about Thursdays past couple weeks, but that's... I don't know about that. We'll see. I think it just so happened a couple of headlines were on Thursday, but I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying that. I kind of just thought if there were going to be something, we'd probably know a bit more than 1 week before, but maybe not. Okay, so Jordan thinks maybe these next couple days. Oh, Steve. So Steve, do you think did they pull the well? Was there an official report that they pulled the confident? I'm skeptical that they did pull it. Oh, you don't even know if it's the right. My first thing was, is this even accurate? I saw the headline. I'm like, is this being? Who's reporting this? I still don't know if it's accurate. That was my first take. Is like maybe this is not the right story. And people just wanted to run with it because it looks like, you know what I mean? But I have no idea. But if they did pull it, I'd be curious about that. But I don't know if we'd get word if they actually pulled it right. I guess if the employees were talking about it. Hugo, can we get a tie in the elections 50-50? Yes, you can, right? Yes, you can. 269. It looks like, the last I was seeing, it looked like Biden was on his way to 270. Which 270 is all you need, right? And can you imagine if he just gets 270 on the dot? That's a pretty incredible outcome that would happen. And I wish I had. I don't even have. Are there any links that you can kind of watch that stuff in real time? The polls and stuff. I didn't see anything on 538. I saw some of the Wall Street Journal stuff, but some of it was like paywalled and stuff. So I don't know. I gotta update these charts and stuff too. Yeah. So Jordan thought that was super weird too, right? Jordan was just like, it's kind of a weird headline. You know what I mean? You could have given anything away. It just doesn't look good. They give away money in lieu of however much they would get paid in lieu of that. You know what I mean? But I don't even know if it's a true story. So I just going off the headline, just to see a headline like that. Someone poked GME with a stick. Safe. It ended up down today, huh? It was up. Was it up today? What day is today? The 4th? Yeah, it was up. It was up a little bit, and then it just sold right down. No volume or anything, right? But this is just this is substantiating what we saw last week. Market's not gung ho about this, right? In the very short term, just that very short term, there's not some crazy bullishness. I just don't see it. We saw it. It was hanging up there, but as soon as it broke, and then it sold off with the market, and then today stuff was up and GameStop wasn't. It's pretty clear the market is going to need more news or whatever it is. I'm still not sure. I keep on talking about rose-colored glasses. We're still in like this bullish. Let me just keep on. Look, I can just click through to go through all the charts. It's still in this like bullish uptrend. You know what I mean? In my mind, it's funny how we're right in this box. This is the daily, right? Down. We're right in the box, right? And they were still like right in between the two boxes that I drew. I think that's kind of funny. But I think the market's kind of waiting for some meaningful news, and it could be we don't get any until earnings. Then they're just waiting on earnings. And then what I'm trying to figure out is, are they still in kind of rose-colored glasses where it's almost like no matter what they report, market will kind of view it bullishly. At this price point, I tilt that way with the market cap of like 700 or something, but we got to see with more time. But it's still in this bullish uptrend. That's more important for me than that intraday stuff, right? talk about marginal analysis. Yeah, I discount this heavily. Just something I keep an eye on for that very short-term stuff. But I still see this is still the trend. This is the daily, and then you back out to the weekly, and then it's still in this bullish uptrend. You know what I mean? So like today, I'm not even noticing too much. It's right in there though, right? It's pretty funny. It's kind of funny that I haven't touched the box. I've left the box untouched here. It's kind of funny that it's right there. But let's see. Like I say, we got to see what happens this week. Now we're 3 days into the week though, so it's kind of it's holding up. What else we got? Yeah, someone poked GME with a stick. But anyway, so I was going with the volume. How much volume we get? Under 6, nothing. You're not getting anything. Really low volume, relatively speaking, right? Under 6, under 8, under 6. Really low volume. Just across, ever since this whole downtrend. This whole downtrend has been super low volume. Is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 2 weeks, right? 8 days. Really 8 days. And what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there was that first day. Okay. Yeah, really not much. I discount the move. I don't know what to say. I think everything remains intact. It's just that short term, without that bullishness, the price just kind of bobs along, just waiting for stuff. That's what I mean. Like the long-term GameStop investors, we were doing this. We were in $4, $5, $6. It becomes easier to hold when it's, you know what I mean? You're bouncing around 10, 11, and 12. Not doing much. I'm like, all right, this is chills. I just kept, you keep on wondering, those are going to give back everything, even though you don't think so. But it's kind of holding up. And I feel like it's had a, I mean, the market was kind of up today, but it's had a decent opportunity to sell back off. It has, and it's kind of holding up for now. And now we're getting closer to the consoles. I think it's now the election. I was kind of curious to see what it did today. It kind of sold off. I'd say it didn't sell off that much. It was on such low volume. But now, then next week we got the consoles, and I assume election stuff will be behind us at that point. And then I'll be curious to see how people are talking about GameStop at that time. You know what I mean? Okay, what else we got? Any other thing? Hey, with... Oh, make it happen. Yeah. Oh, you got a new one, Steve? Yes, Moneyball. What, Moneyball? One of the best value investors out there. Oh, I can't wait to see it, Steve. Sir! Oh, Moneyball is a great choice, Steve. Oh! Yo, if you don't know Steve Stonk, you got to go check out on StockTwits. He's got a account on there. He's spitting fire with Snow K88 on there. Oh, they're worth. There we go. Perfect timing, Steve. So you actually did have something new. Oh, I didn't get to see it. Oh, Philly stinks. Philly, are you from Philly? Oh, damn. He's got to go vote a couple more. Oh, damn. That's funny, Philly, huh? Oh, I fell a little bit behind. Oh, there weren't that many comments. Okay, we got some. Okay. As I saw, 86%. Okay, 86% buying on the latest. Okay. Cheyenne, welcome, Cheyenne. Yes, sir. Let's go. Yeah, it was looking pretty high because it was looking on what needed to happen. It looked like there was too much that needed to happen on for Trump to, at this point, from what it looked like, from what I was seeing. I was kind of scrolling across, checking out the different channels and stuff. But I'm more curious about how Trump. I wouldn't expect a concession or anytime soon. You wouldn't think, right? Just because it's so much in the air and stuff. I'd be curious how what happens from here. You know what I mean? Let's say those votes come in next 24, 48 hours or something. Then what do you do? Maybe you do. I don't know. Okay. Surprise for Jordan was the turnout. Crazy high turnout. Yeah. Spider-Cat. Welcome, Spider-Cat. Still thinks Kanye has a chance. Didn't he formally concede? I thought he did. I see that this morning. That was like the first headline I saw. Kanye, he threw in the towel. I'm like, oh, damn. Okay. I mean, I don't know when he did, but if it happened this morning, it's pretty funny, right? And, I think that's just funny. Yeah, the polling, huh? The polling was the most interesting. So many people talking about that, right? It would have been even crazy if Trump ended up pulling it off. It would have been even crazier, right? But the polling, sus. It's sus, and I know a lot of people were saying that, but it was pretty interesting. Eric, say gamers will find a way to get money. Yeah, you'd have to think that the odds of stimulus. I know we were talking about this recently, kind of increasing here. I still don't know how much it impacts the games. As far as my thesis goes, marginal impact, but still something we've been talking about, right? I think the odds of it increase now that once the election's behind. I guess it's not totally resolved yet. I guess we'll see. How many times in history does a new pres enter office as a lame duck fishy fit? Oh, I don't know what that means. I knew the polling message. Oh, you were surprised how high the voting was. Yeah, I wasn't too dialed into it, but some of the stuff did surprise me, and some of the stuff was called earlier than I was expecting and everything. Jordan. Oh yeah. So Jordan, you can't imagine they say nothing about the launch. The launch is midnight Monday. They shouldn't wait. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was kind of surprised. Yeah, so Jordan's saying it's kind of weird that they were going to launch and not make any sort of announcement. Maybe they'll announce something like the new consoles are here. But are you thinking there'll be anything more substantive to it, Jordan? That was what I was like. Like if they make a console launch, what would be included in it? It's a pure speculation, right? I have no idea. I'm just trying to. We'll have to see. Oh yeah, so Rod. So that was so Rod saying the website is coming along nicely. They better tout it. The varied yeah. So like Rod, like a lot of the stuff. So Rod was talking about some of the advertising stuff he was seeing when you search the GameStop website too. And now I'm thinking like there was no real announcement like that, which is fine, right? They're just implementing some of the stuff that they've been talking about. But now I'm wondering too if it's going to just be like an announcement within the quarterly earnings. You know what I mean? Hey, we've implemented this, but there's not going to be some major partnership type thing. Not that there would be necessarily, but I think the market would perceive that more bullishly than just, hey, we've implemented the advertising type stuff where we got the ball rolling on that front and we're going to keep doing that, unless it led to meaningful cash flow or something like that. I'm not so sure. But I agree. Now they've implemented a lot of the stuff they talked about, but maybe that will be part of the launch to what Jordan's talking about. Till they'll say, hey, we've got the new consoles coming, just to remind everybody, here's the same-day shipping in some places, the different payment options, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then the stuff available on their website, the fulfillment options, as Rod talks about, indeed. Oh, there was a 270, 260. Oh, is that what? Yeah. Is the current one if GA, Pennsylvania State Trump? Oh, wow. Okay, Rod. So you're on that, huh? Wow. Nice. Oh, I missed it. How did I miss that? Oh, I missed that too. We're talking about the Ohio spread. I missed that. Oh, Philly. You don't think that? Okay. So for as far as Pennsylvania goes, okay. Oh, okay. Interesting, Philly. Okay, so Jordan says, don't do the technicals, but seems it needs to find where it wants to go. Under 12 seems like we might deep below 10 before bouncing to new highs. Just weak action for the moment. Yeah, I don't agree with that, Jordan. I mean, you can see, in my opinion, right, and this isn't super high conviction analysis, but I'm just sharing, just like you're sharing, just where you felt. I feel we have found that, I think we're in this box. That's what I think. And I think we're kind of at that low right now. I think it's this $11 range that we keep on hovering around. I was talking about that $11 range and kind of just dipping below to 10.50 or something. It's not that crazy. I still feel like we're right there. You know what I mean? It is weak. It's weak short-term action, right? That's what I see here. That's the daily. So I think it's holding up okay. It's really not that. Like it looks fine. For what this is worth, I know most people are bulls on here. I just don't see. I think people they tend to have shorter term outlooks and stuff, and I think that short term action. I think they weight it too heavily. That's why I always focus more on the longer term stuff because it's even though it itself isn't high conviction, it's higher conviction than this very short term stuff. And when I see this chart, I mean, forget the lines. I know it's got a lot of lines on that. Maybe that's not a good. Let me just back out the lines. Like this chart still looks really bullish to me. Up, down, up, down, up, down, and it as it's turning out, it's stopping right there. Do you know what I mean? Like Jordan, I feel like it's happening right now. For now, I reserve the right to change my opinion, of course, but this looks pretty. This was really fast. This quick run up right there. You know what I mean? It was just like this is a really fast run up. You know what I mean? Usually they say the books, not me. The 45-degree angle is more. This is just really fast, and so anyway, so I'm not so much concerned about that trend line, but I see this bullish, and then if it fell through, this is why I kept on talking about that $11 range. If it fell through and went below 10, if that happened, then I'd be like, all right, maybe we're in a new range. That's why I keep showing those boxes, because that, even though it's, my daughter put a whole bunch of stickers on me. I got stickers all over the place, Halloween stickers. As long as we're, oh, sorry, can you not even, So that's all I'm thinking about. For what that's worth, I appreciate you sharing, Jordan. I'm always curious about how people are thinking about that stuff. Just looks fine to me. I find it hard to imagine the price retracing below the Microsoft hold. So I see that too, Rod. I mean, it's holding right there, and what Rod's talking about is this. Boom! It really It's right at. It went right to that damn line. What Rod's talking about. Like you see this? It's crazy. It's right there. Now, it doesn't mean it holds necessarily, but I'm seeing what Rod's seeing. It seems to be holding. We know there was a buyer in Senvest in the 9s, in Ryan Cohen up till the 8s. I'm seeing kind of what Rod's seeing here. Remember how bulls always second guess their thesis. Have done that a lot this week. Just want that launch. So first of all, Jordan, super healthy. That's good that you do that, right? I know you know that, but Jordan, talk about second guessing your not just bulls, but any like I would just say high conviction, some high conviction analysis. It's good. It's healthy to check your thesis and everything. Have done that a lot this week. Just want that launch PR news. Seems Sony news isn't coming anytime. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. On the news front, I'm like, if there was like a Sony type thing, it seems likely it might have already happened. Doesn't mean we still don't get stuff. You still got the holidays and everything. There could be some other stuff, but the timing of it is looking like later than I was thinking for certain things. Also, you might not get a Sony thing, right? I mean, some people talk about Sony's inevitable. Maybe not. Might be just because of the nature of the Microsoft partnership. Might be that. But anyway, but Jordan, when you're doing that, what's important to do too is remember how like nothing has changed. So nothing. The Microsoft news happened. Oh, Fox, welcome. This is good. I was just going to mention Fox. Cheers. Happy Wednesday, Fox. We got the the Microsoft news, right? But nothing has really changed since this 30% drop. Not the thesis is intact. There's a question of it getting ahead of itself at times, and also assessing the market sentiment, which was looked bullish at one time, and then it changes. That stuff can change quick. But like everything else, and I think many people on the stream, our thesis is almost totally unchanged, right? Nothing has. I just think people overweight certain very short-term price action, thinking but nothing's changed. Except maybe, that's it. Price action and just very in that, which in turn may be a manifestation of very short-term sentiment. That's about it. So anyway, it's a good thing to do that, Jordan. Well done. As you know, right? Jordan's been in it for a while too. I know that. Need some bullish price action, or I see us breaking. All right, Jordan sees a breaking below 10. I disagree for now, but you might be right. Yeah, Fox has started now. Are you gonna bounce? Can you take the Fox? Oh damn, Fox. Oh yeah, so Philly, I was trying to remember that. Was Bush Gore 27 days? I can't remember, and I didn't look it up. I was kind of just chatting. Was it 20? Oh wow, that's way longer than I remembered. Thanks for sharing, Philly. Bush Gore was 27 days. Oh, I didn't remember that. Cool. Wow, whoa, that's way longer. Oh, then we may not know for a while then. Okay. Yeah. So that in the very short term, it looked like it was a good trading opportunity. That once it broke and the market was starting to sell off, you know what I mean? That's what I was seeing right there. Boom, broke through. I still would have been, 14s would have been tough. You know what I mean? You could have just played 14s anytime like that. This is tough analysis. Oh, what kind of PR will drive this stock up or down at this point? Yeah, it's a good question, Fox. Right, have to be something meaningful, right? I'm not so sure. Partnership news of some sort, which everyone's talking about because of the Microsoft stuff. Anything with Sony or Nintendo, and then now I'm thinking, and maybe if there were an advertising one, but I'm not so sure about that one, right? And maybe partnership isn't the right word, but teaming up with someone who's leveraging that gaming DB and something. But that doesn't seem like that's the type of partnership announcement you'd get, right? It would just be a vendor start leveraging that behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I don't think that's an announcement on that front. So otherwise, it's just you'll get quarterly updates as to how it's progressing and maybe how it's flowing through down to earnings and free cash flows and stuff. So that one just takes time. But as far as other ones, I'd be curious what other people think. Alter ego, yeah. James Lee, what up, James? Welcome. Oh, okay. Yeah, you were saying that. You mix it up. I know. Inner bull and bear coming out. Okay, PR about launch. Jordan's elaborating. Launch, availability, special trade-ins. With PS4 launch, they had special launch with developers related to COD game. Can they pull that off? Yeah, but how meaningful is that? You know what I mean? How do you expect the price to jump on that, Jordan? I think that's... I would like that too. Just full stop. I would like just some updated news as you get into the consoles. And I agree with you. It kind of seems like they'd announced something going into it, right? That seems like the natural course of action as to how substantive it's going to be, right? That stuff kind of seems like lighter stuff, you know? As far as the impact on the stock price. If I were a bear, I'm not so sure that stuff would sway me much. That's my point. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of bears. And I think... And I don't know that that's enough to flip sentiment a bit. Especially now that it's looking a little bit that short-term bear. For Momo traders, if it's not going up, it's going down. Right, exactly, Fox. That's what I mean. So I think people talk about shorts and stuff. People talk about shorts kind of selling it, like shorting it down and causing some of this price action. Of course, the whole market was selling down, right? Number one. But number two is, I think a big chunk of it was the marginal longs. Like Fox is talking about the Momo folks. Momo folks, technical analyst folks who are playing the short-term charts and everything. They're saying as long as it stays above I don't even know what line that is. As long as it stays above the 20-day. Once you start breaking this stuff, those incremental buyers are sellers, and then they sell. So it cuts both ways, as we always say. So that's why if you're playing that kind of stuff, just a general education here, right? You got to be cognizant of those short-term types moves because those buyers will become sellers like that. And vice versa right now, right? That's why you start seeing the pessimism crop up when the stock price is kind of lagging right now. But I'll tell you, then you'll get everyone start piling back in if it starts moving the other way. So I agree, Fox. So Fox, we're on the same page again. He's saying if there's some vendor info, could be bullish. Otherwise, I think it'll be dismissed as fluff. So that's what I was getting at, right? Seems like Fox and I are on the same page. That's not to say I wouldn't like it. I'm with Jordan. But as far as put yourself in the bear shoes, the reason that you're bearish on the stock, that long-term secular decline, is news about the launch and stuff or special trade-ins. I don't think that changes my bearish thesis. You know what I mean? If it it's so small, and remember this bearish sentiment is so heavy, it takes more than that. So I kind of agree with Fox on that. Yeah, so Uber, so some sponsored CRM-driven advertising. I'm not sure. Uber, do you think that would be legit question here? Like I was just talking about this. Do you think that would be in like a news release? It seems more a natural fit for the earnings release, but maybe you disagree. Let me know. Do you come out and announce something like that? I don't think that you do unless they were teaming up with something like there's some big announcement, but they've been talking about it all along. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this at each quarterly earnings. And it seems unusual to me that it would be a mid-quarter announcement of some sort. But I don't know. I have no clue, Uber. Sure, we were in that new box, but we were at the lower end of the box. Risky play here. You just said what I was typing. Looks fine for the moment, but it really is undecided. See, Jordan, so what I would say is this. So this isn't a recommendation, right? Y'all know this. But general investment education here, from a perspective like mine, when you're at the low side of the box, that's actually not specific to GameStop. Just talking general stocks here. When you're at the low side of some range, that's actually a good opportunity to be potentially adding or selling puts or something like that. I'm not saying that anyone should do that here, right? But I actually disagree, Jordan, saying that you think it's a risky play. No, it's a risk-on stock, right? It's a risky stock, right? We already know that. I'm just saying in the context of the very small context of this box, just this box, I actually think now here is the time. You know what I mean? You wait. It's getting sold up. It's getting bid up. As a value investor who like contrarian nature type stuff, it's hard for me to buy into that. I have to wait for that little bit of a pullback, and then I'm like, oh, now it's looking interesting. And then when it sold off so hard last week, and then I'm like, all right, let me keep an eye on this. And now it's like this becomes an opportunity to potentially add. Again, I'm not saying to do that. I'm just generally, if a chart looks like this. And then what some folks might do, is you set a stop loss to say, well, if it breaks through this box, maybe you set it at 975 or something. You know what I mean, Jordan? So that you cut out. Be like, nope, this was it changed. You can always change your mind on stuff. And so you might say, all right, set that stop loss. And if it turns against me and we're not at the low end of the box, or that box is inaccurate, right? Because it's not a super high conviction box or anything like that, then you're out. Then you don't have to. Then it's cool. But otherwise, and the longer this box persists, the longer it holds, the longer it consolidates in this region, it supports that lower price point. So that's what I was thinking, Jordan. That it's just of course, there's the market is still trying to figure out what it wants to do with GameStop. But as far as I perceive it, I disagree a bit. Okay, Fox saying advertising could be interesting too. Promos and sales probably less impactful. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind, but I'm curious how Uber would approach this advertising front, like what that announcement might look like. Okay. Cheyenne, if they destroy earnings but the stock goes down. So I've seen that too many times. Well, I've seen it too many times with GameStop, Cheyenne, right? I swear, if I'm not mistaken, every single earnings release, that I have as I've been invested in GameStop this time around, it has been down the next day quite a bit. I don't feel like looking right now, but I'm pretty sure every single quarterly release, yeah, every single one in the past since the start of 2019. I mean, I wasn't in until later, but I'm just thinking back every single quarterly. I'm pretty sure it's been down off the top of my head since like Q4 2018, I think. So, Cheyenne, I'm with you. But here's the thing. So this is why I keep on talking about those rose-colored glasses, because and where the price point is too. Because it might be, if the bullish trend is still intact, and we got to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But it might be the market will just start interpreting the earnings release kind of no matter what they say. It's just more bullish. You know what I mean? Whereas the market was kind of selling all this stuff off, maybe because the price is heading up and because with the new consoles are out, the market might be more willing to support a bounce on the earnings release. Maybe. But there's a lot to see. But yeah, it could sell off too. That's not to say it won't. I've seen it so many times. Okay, so Fox, well said. So Fox says for the hardcore 30 viewers on the Roaring Kitty channel, the thesis is probably unchanged. For the incremental 40 to 50 viewers at the peak last year, they may have moved on. I'd have to that's why I was laughing. When was it? Last Friday. We still had a pretty good turnout, because I'm like, or even all last week we had a pretty good turnout. But now this week, what are we at? 34 right now. We're in the 30s right now. So plus it's a quiet. I mean, it was quiet day too, and then the election type stuff. So 34. But still, you gotta at least partially agree with what Fox is saying there, right? Momo crowd was absolutely shook. Saw more you saw more capitulation today. Even this very short term stuff, like it bottomed out there. Oh, it got down to 1040. Wow. And then higher lows. You know what I mean? It sounds silly. It is silly. But even just this very short term stuff from October 30th. So what's that? 4 trading days. Low, higher low. Higher low. Market's been trending up too. What if the market sold off? Then maybe this doesn't hold up, right? Of course. Yeah, anyway, let me keep going. Okay, not enough to flip sentiment, agree, but consistent PR news with pictures of long lines will help. Stock really moves on ER if they bring back guidance, that or buybacks. I'd agree with that, Jordan. I agree with the consistent PR. I thought we'd even be getting more meaningful stuff so far. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But I agree with you on the earnings release on the bringing back guidance, which I doubt. I doubt they're going to bring back guidance, but maybe. But I agree with you. I'm with you, Jordan. If they announce buybacks or big guidance, that could be some. If you were trying to bullet point out 5 variables that could cause the stock price to bounce, maybe more than it would otherwise. Those are definitely 2 of them. Some major partnership or stuff, any of those types of things too. But like some really powerful, especially if it's Q4 guidance or full year guidance, and then looking out to 2021. But I doubt this management team would offer that up. Kazuya, yeah, I know this. I think it's a mistake to think that shorts are causing this sell off or. Like I keep on saying how I advise against using these words like manipulation and that type of stuff. I mean, I really advise against that because there's just no indication of anything like that necessarily based on this price action, right? Because like I was saying, I think you had a lot of marginal buyers buying in here. When they start selling, that can really drive the price down quite a bit. And even on the shorting front, we're only seeing incremental rises in the short interest. It's really not that much. And so you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Hey, Steven, all right. Welcome, Steven. Cheers. Okay, yeah, Jordan talk about the last. See, Jordan knows. Talk about another move like last quarter. Big dump followed by a nice jump. So that should be an expectation, too, as Jordan says. If you remember this earnings release, when we did the live stream, we're like, oh, this looks pretty good. Oh, where was it? Oh, right here. We did the earnings. It looks pretty good. And then, boom, it sold off, right? And then just weeks later, boom, boom, boom. Days later, it took out the previous short-term high. So I agree with you, Jordan, right? Don't be surprised by that with stocks that are very heavily shorted like that. It shouldn't be surprised to see weird price action like that. Where that initial, like I talk about knee-jerk reaction stuff, it's not always a good indicator of what's to come. And right now, not much new came out on GameStop after that sell-off. Like the Ryan Cohen stuff, right? But yeah, fundamental-wise, that's not that big. So you think shorts are up to 70 again? Well, Uber just reporting. Sorry, Uber. See, I was thinking, we were talking about this. It seems conceivable. There was no. Remember how we talked about, like, if you have a heavy short interest, there's really no opportunity to get out much. This was the first opportunity that some short, especially incremental shorts, they had a legitimate reason to get out. This was the first time we've seen this since. Following earnings, right? They had a couple of days, but then it bounced back up so quick. It was almost like they didn't have much time, right? Then boom, boom, boom. It never really sells off that much. It stays really close to where it's going. Then it bounces on the Microsoft earnings. It never falls that much from the peak. And then it goes up, up, up. And then finally, like if you're thinking through incremental shorts, then you had a big 30, 40% drop. You know what I mean? And I can imagine at least marginal shorts taking profits at that point. You know what I mean? But indeed, you'd have to imagine a good chunk of that short interest are the long-term bearish folks betting on secular decline and so forth. But I was just thinking that I wonder if some folks may have been closing down here. But now you're saying that some stuff is still seeing 70. Interesting. Okay. Oh, well, S3 down to 67. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Steve Stomp. Yeah. Okay. So the Twitter convo the other day regarding the online ad revenue. Oh, yeah. Did I miss the Uber? Did we not talk about this? So I liked a couple of things here. So I mentioned this on the line. I mentioned this on the last stream, where I was trying to think back. It was James White. So this was September 15th, really before this pop-up. I remembered it on Monday. Oh, it was the day before it popped. This was September 15th. And I remember this discussion here happening where we're talking about affiliate marketing. If done right, it should account for a huge chunk. First of all, cheers, James. I think James has been on the stream before. And I went to go track it down because I talked about it. I'm like, yeah, let me go. We were talking about this in September. Let me go track down some folks who were talking about this. Because Uber's kind of been doing, Uber's been picking up some of this. I was kind of like triggering some thoughts in my own mind. I'm like, yeah. I know management's talked about it, but I'm like, some folks on Twitter. And so James had been talking about affiliate marketing, if done right, should account for 10 to 25% of an e-commerce site's total revenues, right? That's a huge chunk. What does this mean? GME's e-commerce is ripe for an uptick of 10 to 25% long term. Also, this note from Jeff. So the note he's talking about is right up here, but I remember that. So I liked this at the time, and I'm like, oh yeah. Let me revisit this. And then this was from CVC. Again, this was again from Jeffries, and talking about we remain intrigued by, and what he highlighted was remain intrigued by signals of external ad-sponsored content and affiliate rev models. So Uber, just a heads up, if you missed this, like we were talking about this, but now Uber's kind of seeing, hey, some of this stuff is maybe finally starting to get implemented after folks have been talking about it for a while. But I went to go check this out. I'm like, oh, I should retweet this. I'll retweet this. In fact, I meant to. I just forgot. So maybe I'll do that. I'll do that soon. So that's the thing is that story. Like people forget the story. Like people are so quick to tie on to price action, right? It's so easy to do. It's so easy. Just let's talk about price action. But like the fundamental story's kind of been unfolding. It's just maybe slower than some people like. But that's why it's like a little bit easier to be a longer term value investor. So Steve, I'm happy to pull up whatever. I don't know where it was or if I missed it or if we already talked about it. I can't remember. A natural short interest that caused capitulation. Oh, okay. Barring material recalls, no. No way to know how much of the share lending is purposely letting out the rope. Yeah, I know. We don't know. I just don't know enough about this. Agree. I think this could go to 200, unprecedented, but definitely possible. That's what I think too. I don't think it's likely unprecedented. I think it's, yeah, and I think Fox would agree with that. Probably unlikely too, but it seems possible. Fidos and those guys lend shares for sure. Yeah, I mean, now with so much short interest, right, we can be pretty confident there's a ton of folks. Most folks are lending out their shares, right? Jorge, what's up? What's up, Jorge? What's up? Oh, this is going to be an obscure one. I'm a little bit behind, but anyone see Mad TV? Remember Mad TV back in the day? The song's been going through my mind. Lowered expectations. You remember that? That's what I was like. When I was looking at the chart, like that's what I was kind of thinking for the very short-term folks. I'm like, lowered expectations. All right, that's an obscure one. The first positive comp results would be the catalyst. Oh, that's true. Yep, that's a possible catalyst. That's kind of the usual stuff, right? They kind of just like actual free cash flows, like these things, like some positive fundamental comps. Which could we get it in Q3? Could we get it in Q3? Uber was having some thoughts about Q3 that were intriguing me a bit. Like for me, Q3 was another throwaway quarter. But with the understanding that they could be, maybe the market's not pricing it in, but I don't know how likely it is. And I kind of, off the top of my head, I kind of forget Q3 of last year. I'd assume, hey, yeah, Uber, we might get some positive comps here. I mean, certainly on the e-commerce front, right? But as far as getting down to those precise figures for quarter over quarter, I typically don't do that, so I'm not sure off the top of my head. We'll need fundamental stuff as we discussed last time. Yep, positive comp would help. Yep. And like actual free cash flows, like some of this stuff is the usual stuff, but with GameStop, you were wondering if there could be a little bit more just because sentiment's so bearish, but who knows? Yeah, look at that. I mean, look at this, right? I mean, this is just look at these rates. That's not looking particularly scary. To me, that doesn't look. You're short. Again, that's not the exact short. It's not the exact fee that they're paying, but that's not looking particularly scary at all. Not at all. I don't even know what the ramifications of that, right? I don't. Don't ask me. I don't know this stuff, but I just think that's not that particularly high of a fee. Oh, you say to me, I'm not certain a positive comp. I agree with that. Oh, yeah, positive comp alone won't do it. We'll need a piece of game-changing news with a new console cycle. If there's no positive comp, that'd be a shocker. Well, I don't know what quarter y'all talk about. Talk about Q4, well, for sure. But even Q3, you'd think would have the positive comp, especially because last year was pretty dead. Relatively speaking, I'd say. I just don't know how big it is. You know what I mean? I don't know the scale of it. But so I don't know about this, Fox. So I agree with you up to an extent. Fox talking about how I don't know what time frame this is. I'll just run with Q3 specifically. So the thing they talk about game-changing news. This is the thing with value stocks is for that quick run up, that a smart reversion up, like kind of like a Microsoft type reaction. You need game-changing news. But like with value stocks, like this stuff just can creep higher on incremental fundamental news, right? And maybe Fox, I don't know if you have a strong opinion as to where these fundamentals are headed. I do have a strong opinion as to where these fundamentals are headed, and because this is where my conviction in the downside protection comes from. And so those free cash flows I do feel are coming, and they will support this higher move in the stock price even without game-changing news. That's how I feel. And even if it's just smaller incremental news every quarter and stuff, as long as those free cash flows keep coming, that price comes. You know what I mean? Like in theory, there could be no game-changing news, and I can imagine this price going higher, but that perhaps might take more time. That's what I'd get at. I don't know if you agree with that, Fox, but this is how it works with my plays. I just see it over and over again with value stocks where it's not so much a major game-changing news. It's just people coming around to this free cash flow story. You know what I mean? And that stuff takes time. Even more time than usual in this case because of the crazy, crazy heavy bearish sentiment. Could be this time I'm wrong. Of course it could be. But, and that's what I'm not too sure about, like, say, Q3, where I'm trying to gauge that rose-colored glasses. I think I'm not too sure. So it could be their year-over-year performance could be even more important. But for a smart run-up to, say, 15, 20 very quickly, that I would have to agree with, that you'd need something a bit more robust than, well, that's the thing. If they crush the comps, then maybe paired with a little bit more, that could be enough. But just a small, you know what I mean? That's how I'm thinking. Let me keep going. Curious about other people's thoughts here. They'll keep lending. Money is money. You're at in 12%, yeah. When there's a long position, outweigh 5% returns. Well, remember, Steve. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we clearly have different models with the short, with the shorts. You know what I mean? They're thinking about this differently. Where and they're not so focused so much on the rate. If they think they're right, like we think we're right, and we both have high conviction in our analysis, I don't think that rate, the 12%, if they think they're right, if they really feel strongly that they're right, they'll just keep collecting that 12%. You know what I mean? That's potentially. Maybe they don't think it's as risky as some of us think. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm with you on this one, Uber. He's saying you don't think there are a contingent of algorithmically driven traders that bail on the short side of the trade upon the 4Q comp. PB went crazy with the positive comp. Yeah, so I just say it depends. The stock has just gone up 4x, Uber. You know what I mean? The stock just went up 4x. Short interest went up. At what point? Like at what point? I already agree with you. I think it seems bizarre to me when people say, like, no matter what, they can keep on like a heavy short position. Or continue to bet against. That's the thing. I think a lot of bears are even factoring in positive comps. Uber. This is my thing. They're factoring in positive comps because of the imminent consoles, right? Let me just. Where am I going with this? Short side of the trade upon. I don't know. Let me keep rolling. I like where this discussion's headed though, Uber. Let me keep going. Bail. I keep on. Like, why are they bailing the Uber? That's kind of my question to you. If they bail, they're going to bail just because of a Q4 comp or because the stock price went up significantly? Because positive 4Q comps, I'm sure that their models, even though they differ significantly from us, obviously, are factoring in positive year-over-year comps. And so it would need to be, I don't know that changes their models, the long-term models, unless it's crazy year-over-year beat. Let me keep going. Or if the price action, or if it gets to 2025 on that news, then that's I kind of agree with. It's kind of bizarre when people keep saying like it's probably big shorts that they can just keep on shorting or not take off their trade. And I think, what? That this thing keeps running? Imagine at 25 being that sure about your position, no matter what the news is. I feel like that's kind of what Uber's getting on, and I agree with that aspect. I'm just not so sure you get to that on just a comp. It depends on the degree of beat or whatever it is. Depends how policy they will provide guidance to get more investors. Oh, I don't know about that, Jorge. We'll see. Much as I welcome guidance, I doubt it. Given what's I agree with Uber. Yeah, I doubt just too much. There's a lot of uncertainty here, and even with the console cycle itself, a lot of folks short retail at large. Yep. Shorting a stock that has such a high short interest, which is a key input, would seem weird for a pure algo fund. Oh yeah, I mean I don't know pure algo. I keep beep boop 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 because I feel like it's got to be at least partial, right? I don't know about pure, but some of it seems like it had to be because of that level of it too. So I mean I kind of agree with you there. At the same time, hey Fox, I got a question for you. We talked about this recently. How do you interpret a very high short interest? Let's say that on Monday short interest is X. And then on Tuesday, we learned that short interest is actually 20% greater than X. Do you feel as though the broad market perceives that bullishly or bearishly? I hope I asked that question. Okay. I'm so far behind, I think. How is that it gets so far behind? I thought they were at 20. Good conversation. That's how. Okay. I'm the only one who thinks the market percentage of consoles and sales associated with those consoles seem ridiculously small. Oh, I'm not sure, Jordan. I see a big. Oh, well, I think they're going to beat, and I think they're going to beat. Their legacy business is going to beat quite a bit in the coming quarters. We'll see, though. I think they're cost cutting. I think the market has heavily discounted their cost cutting initiatives because it wasn't because it didn't. It makes sense to me. Even though I disagree with it, the cost-cutting initiatives do not solve the secular. You know what I mean? Like the reason short interest is so heavy and why people keep on are betting against GameStop has nothing to do with their short-term profitability. Yes, cost-cutting measures increase long-term profitability. That's not the point. If your future revenues are going to zero, who cares what your cost-cutting is doing? You know what I mean? That's how the bears are thinking. And so the cost cutting has not been sexy. No one cares about cost cutting for a company that's going where revenue is going to zero. You know what I mean? And so I think the market has discounted that too much, and I think they're going to see how much it's going to flow through to free cash flow in Q4, in Q1, in Q2, like for over the next 5 quarters following Q3, maybe even Q3 too. Maybe it will show quite a bit. It very well could. I don't know why I'm skipping Q3. I just kind of discounted in my mind a bit. Relative to the subsequent 4 quarters, of course, right? But I think the market's kind of messed up on their analysis of that aspect. coupled with the most folks already know this, even bearish folks know this, that coupled with the significantly higher demand for these new consoles, just gaming generally, much more demand this time around. It's a cultural phenomenon, even more than it was 7-8 years ago. You know what I mean? And I keep on saying this, things, not to focus too much on the legacy business, but it skews physical in those early quarters and months. Maybe I'm a blind bull. We'll see. Oh, and Jordan, you just said this. Jordan said, I know margins are weak for consoles, but increasing revenue is easy increasing revenue. They have fixed a big part of SG&A. I guess I'm just a bull. Jordan, we just said the same thing. And I just ended by saying maybe I'm just a blind bull too. That's funny. Cheers, Jordan. Cheers, cheers, cheers. I agree with that shit. I don't think the investor base has transitioned enough that GME will be... Oh, I agree with that, Fox. That's a good point. Will be valued just on revenue. Oh, well, I think Jordan was just saying revenue. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I think Jordan was just saying increasing free cash flows too. I don't know if he was focusing too much on revenue. Short saying close 90 times. So yeah, I agree. I see no reason if you're short. It's, don't get me wrong. How many times have I voiced the if you were an individual investor, this would be an incredibly risky position to put on. But what's the reason that they would have to close or need to close or want to close? And there's risks of something arising, right? But what's the probability of that happening? It still could be slim. It still could be low in their minds, and they could have plenty of time. So it may be that they don't have to close, or they just have plenty of time to close. So, like a lot of startups, there's good data on long-term margins of hardware. Yep. Hey, Dusty, welcome back, Dusty. Cheers. Oh, yeah, I remember that, Jordan. The Biota at 10. I remember that, Jordan. I do. I don't think, as I recall, you weren't alone. There you go. Yeah, Fox. So Fox says, this is a good point. If I were advising GME, I'd tell them to reorg all the rev breakouts. E-commerce should have a standalone line. What are the odds they might? It might be high. Those odds might be high, right, Fox? There's a lot of different things that they can do to get that discussion changing. As we talked about this recently, I don't know if Fox was here too, but I've seen this was a discussion other folks were having. I don't remember when or who. I don't remember. It's just something that has stuck with me. Where Apple was historically kind of valued as kind of like a hardware type company, where because they kept on reporting like the number of Apple iPhones, the number of iPhones that were sold each quarter or year, whatever it was. And then they stopped, didn't they? Correct me if I'm wrong here. I wasn't too dialed into Apple or whatever. But then they stopped reporting the individual figures, and it took some time. But then people started realizing it's like the ecosystem, that's like the brand and so forth. And they started trading at higher and higher multiples so it was kind of it was kind of giving people the wrong impression by reporting those figures. And anyway, I use this as an example to run with what Fox is talking about. Just reorganizing the breakouts can have an impact on investors' thinking. So I strongly agree with that. And indeed they might. Indeed they might. There's probably other things they can do too that I can't think of off the top of my head. E-commerce aside, right? Y'all could probably think of that stuff faster than I can. Yeah, Jordan agrees with that too. Yep, Uber does too. So Uber's thinking about 200 million. Okay, and that could be. Hey, Uber, what is that? What's that percentage of quarterly revenues in your mind? What are you thinking? That around in the 20% range. I mean, I think it could be around that 20% number again, roughly, give or take. Fear on management side is that they'll expose another weakness when they break out the growth areas, because if something is growing, another area would be lagging. Well, it's okay if the legacy businesses that plus expectations could run ahead of themselves. Well, that's why, Fox, I would think that they wouldn't break it out until it's the right time. That's what I mean. Like, not that Fox was saying this, but I don't think they're not going to break it out in Q3, right? But maybe down the line, it may have, you know what I mean? I don't know when it is. They probably try to time that. They probably try to time that appropriately because of what Fox is talking about, saying how if you do that, then you might expose another weakness when they break out the growth areas because something is growing that another area would be lagging. As long as they got enough growing, and it's the new sexier type stuff, I think that would be okay. True, but the street already knows the legacy. Right. So Jordan said the same thing. More important to show the growth areas and accept. And yeah, you got to accept the weaker areas, right? Yep. Talk about, stores were closed and stuff, right? Right. I knew they already did break down some stuff. Jordan said the new breakdown, not showcasing the pre-owned and new software breakdown frustrated some folks, right? Internal discussions are certainly happening, right. I think the problem is that e-commerce will probably have lower margins. Guess it depends if they mingle digital into the mix. Right. Like, do you mean like the digital... like the digital partnership they have with Microsoft, if they start grouping that in with that, okay, that's true. Pre-owned was such a great, it's tremendous biz, right? Fat free cash flow margins. Which and those fat free cash flow margins should persist for a while longer. You know what I mean? As most of us know, but. Be disappointing. March, I'll be very curious about Q4. There'll be a ton of pressure to redefine their gross margin breakout as well, right? They got to time that right. Shorts will cover on big earnings beat with buybacks, Jordan says. Not a chance before that. Even then, only a small percent would cover. Need new growth in esports, Tulsa, digital sales. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Jordan. I generally agree with that. No buybacks. I'll eat my tail if there's buybacks announced during next quarter. Whoa. Eat his tail. Wow. Okay, Fox. I'll screenshot that. Let me screenshot that. Wow. They're that confident that it didn't happen, huh? Okay. All right. Hey, Jen. Welcome, Jen. Boy, what problem? So you must have assigned a really low probability to that, Fox. I mean, I want to ask you. I want to know what your probability is, right? Even though I don't even get into the precise figures either, right? But if you're that confident, like less than 5% chance, do you think there's a less than 5% chance, Fox, that they did the buybacks this quarter? I think we get what happened during loss. Oh, is Jen's father? Oh, the GME trade? He called up. Oh, she did it. Nice work, Jen. Is this the top? Oh no! If he's buying in, is this the top? Oh no, Jen! Oh no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, right? Jen had been saying too that he was not too interested in it, but maybe folks starting to come around, talking about that changing sentiment, right? Taking some time. Still hoping for buybacks. Not saying a sure thing, but with the shorts only cover when that happens, whether in 21. I still don't think Jordan. I think even if they did do buybacks, they only bought back about 10 million or so shares. If they do close, that doesn't change their long-term bear case. You know what I mean? Some would close, right? It increases the risks a little bit, but I don't think the stock runs on that news. It's just 10 million shares isn't enough to trigger something crazy, in my opinion. I bet you still. I think Jordan probably even agree with this. You'd still have a good chunk of short interest following that news. I know. I like to think Jen talking to her father, like explaining, no. They got these high margin revenue streams, Dad. You need to understand here. It's not about their UCA's business. No. It's changing. You know what I mean? Trying to explain to people. Oh, that's funny. Well, sure, it's just a data point. Okay, so that was your question, right? My point. A very high short interest is a very high short interest. It's a potential setup for a short squeeze, right? But barring a catalyst, it's just a data point. So that's my take, and I think that's most folks here that high short interest, it's a risk factor in my mind from the perspective of like a short squeeze. Crazy thing could happen. But a high short interest, I guess this is my point, Fox. I'm trying to get at a high short interest is bearish. You know what I mean? Like if you're a marginal investor kind of reviewing the stock and you see a stock that has a very high short interest and that it's rising and stuff, my take on that, and I'm just trying to be objective here, is it's bearish. You know what I mean? I don't see that and get really gung-ho about a stock. I see that and I often move on to the next stock because it's not something I look for. And you know what I mean? There's just so many times where that high short interest is right. I've just seen it be right so many times. And so if I'm just doing surface level analysis, yes, it's a data point, but it's a data point that a lot of folks look at and take it into consideration. And that if as part of their model, and you were trying to model it out as to whether or not this particular stock would be a worthwhile investment, I would think it knocks down the score, if you will, a little bit. Like, I don't think on net that you'd think short squeeze, because more likely that short squeeze doesn't happen with those heavily shorted stocks. So that's how I view it. Of course, I disagree with the level of it, right? I mean, everyone knows that, but I just think we were talking about this last week, how this broke through. This broke through on this very short 15-minute trend line, right? Just 15-minute trend line. Just this doesn't always work out as clean as this. It just happened to work out clean. The whole market was selling off, and we had just got news that the shorts didn't close out of their position, but added to their positions. And I just viewed this whole setup as kind of bearish. I feel that's kind of negative in my mind in the very short term, like sentiment-wise. That's how I viewed it. And like, what if it's at 75 million? I know, like, I don't see that. For me, that's not bullish to me. That seems bearish to me. That these folks who are likely sophisticated folks see the setup and think pile on even more. And in my mind, it increases because I feel have high conviction in that longer term fundamental thesis. I can tick up the odds of something crazy happening, but that is always never going to be the base case that something crazy is going to happen. So them continuing to pile on in face of that is almost like, geez, oh wow. Makes you ask yourself stuff, We're therapy on the Roy Kitty channel, right? We're over 50. Cheers, everybody. Okay. Quiet start, but even on the down days and the relative downforce, we're still talking through this, right? Like, these are the important times. I said that even last week was arguably more important, right? But these are the important times from an education standpoint. Oh, there's another GameStop type company. Yeah, not that I know of, Jen. I'd be curious. Believe Dream just found you by accident. Hey, Believe, how'd you find by accident? Were you just scoping around YouTube, bullish or bearish on Q4? I don't know what that means. Bullish or bearish on what? On how they're going to perform. I mean, they're certainly going to have very strong year-over-year comps, but yeah, I don't know what you mean, Believe Dream. Welcome to the stream, though. Welcome. Cheers, mate. Okay. Like, do you mean like the fundamentals, or do you mean the stock price? I have no idea on the stock price. I don't know. But fundamentals are going to be very strong year over year, right? New consoles and so forth. Ah, shit. Sure seems like a lot to have all these conversations with someone. Yeah, well, Fox, I agree with you on the e-commerce breakout odds, except are you just talking about this quarter? Looking out a couple of quarters, I think they've reorganized their breakout a number of times over the past 5 years, 6 years. What is it? 5 years, maybe. But I bet down the line maybe they do. But yeah, I don't think it's imminent. Breakouts take a ton of time. Legacy accounting systems, right? And often not set up for this nimble. Yeah, I agree, Fox. 1 to 10%. Thank you, Fox. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Just curious. Oh, probably less than 5%. Okay, I thought I could nail that figure. I was trying to nail that figure based on your comments. I thought 5% might be the good, under 5%. Okay, 5%. Okay, cool. If they didn't do buybacks, are you thinking they paid off the... That's the thing. I would think they would have... Wouldn't they announce a tender? That was likely... I'm thinking that comes... what do they do, March? I'm thinking it comes calendar Q1, right? January. I guess that's not that crazy thinking. But even now, like, I don't expect anything on the bond front in November and December. If it comes, okay. You know what I mean? If it comes. But I've been thinking, like, maybe they'll just hold off, like, focus on the consoles and then revisit that stuff maybe after the quarter, though. The quarter's not over. Q4's not over till the bonds are due. So that's... All right, maybe that's not... I mean, this isn't high conviction opinion, right? Trying to think through. Thought they'd probably want to focus on the consoles, take care of that shit. Just get them out, get things going, get things moving. Maybe December. Okay, I could see December. But in my mind, I've been thinking they're not doing anything with the bonds till January, February. See, I don't know that they're Jordan. I think that they announce a tender. I think that they'll announce that they're going to do something. I think. I don't think that we'd just be surprised that they did it. If anyone disagrees with that, let me know. I don't really know. Can likely back 400K. Using the sequential online order. Oh yeah, so about 4 million gross 3Q orders. We can likely back 400K of those out as pre-orders. Okay. I like your calculations, Uber. Never tell me the odds, Fox. I know I'm over here telling me the odds. Never tell me the odds. Never tell me the odds. Jordan's like, so you're saying there's a chance, Fox, huh? Stockpiling cash is oftentimes a matter of inertia. Cash is optionality. Cash also means management longevity. It takes bankruptcy off the table. And more importantly, something. Management doesn't have to make hard choices, right? Tech companies hold on to ridiculous amounts of cash all the time, zero debt. If we think about cap structure, all it means is low return on capital. Plus investors. I'm going to run with this. Plus investors get the fun. Right. So Fox. So I agree with everything you're saying here, Fox. And then you say your final point is, as an agency issue, there's low risk to management to hoard cash. And Fox, my question to you is, why did they buy back 37% of their shares last year? Because not only do I agree with you, but your point is even more valid in 2019 than it is in 2020. That's how I feel. And I agree with everything you just said, right? I agree with you. And I keep on, because I was racking my brain back then too. Why the hell did they buy back so many shares? I didn't think there was even more uncertainty back then. And so the whole agency thing, this was a risk of mine for the past year and a half. I was actually pretty kind of negative on this thing, thinking that they would do what you were saying, Fox, because of all that uncertainty. And no matter that, I mean, I saw that Hestia and Permit had been nagging them, and Bari had been nagging them, and then Hestia and Permit, they're on the board, by the way. Now they're on the board. I know Fox knows that, but like that would have been the time to hoard cash, right? Like, what has changed in their mindset that now that there's a higher, you know what I mean? Is that they feel as though they placated investors, but at the time, 37% seems way too high, given what you just said. Seems way too high. I don't know how you could disagree. It seems way too high that, you know what I mean? That there's a little bit of an edge to them. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because I didn't think there was, and then I was proven wrong. And so now it's hard for me to get away from that. And that's where I'm coming from. Always the potential for M&A, investments in growth projects. I agree with all, especially turnaround. Fox, as we talked about, you're seriously trying to turn around this business, you're going to need a shit ton of cash. And maybe Ryan Cohen getting involved kind of nullifies what Hestia was he was pounding the table about too, a lot on this buyback in front. Now he's on the board, but now that maybe Cohen's involved, he's like, nah, he needs a 10% shareholder bigger than Hestia. Nah, we ain't doing that. We're going to need that cash to invest it here and there. You know what I mean? So those two opinions, I mean, I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but you could imagine those clashing because of the way that where Hestia was coming from. But, I mean, we don't have to go far. Look at what previous GME management team did with excess cash. Man, I'm a little bit behind. Shit. Okay. Could have other plans in future for that cash that large investors are aware of, so wouldn't complain. Just on the possibility. I agree with that, Dusty. Hey, Polygon. Welcome, Polygon. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. There's always the potential for M&A. Oh, yeah. No, so what actually are you saying? Yeah, I believe dream. You tell me. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what honestly, though, believe dream. I don't know what your question is. I can voice. I'm happy to voice an opinion, but I actually don't know. When you say, am I bullish on Q4, I don't know what that means. Do you mean, am I bullish that the company is going to perform well operationally? Yes. But I think most folks are. You know what I mean? So I don't know how unique. I don't think that's that unique of a take, right? New consoles coming out. It's going to be huge year over year. Sorry, Believe Dream. I rambled too, Believe Dream. My bad. Welcome to the stream. And we don't have to go far. Look at preview. Yep. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking too. Blessed Spear. So Jordan's was saying he thinks something might happen, but he's saying anything going to happen this week? Probably not, to avoid election noise. You would think that they're that would trump election stuff, but still, I was thinking about that too, Blessed. Maybe they're just like, I don't know. Are any other companies announcing news this week? Has everyone kind of pumped the brakes? I don't know. I was thinking about that today. This is a sentiment storyline. Holding such cash hurts the bullish story. Looks weak. Do the buybacks. Get new buyback offering. Pay off bonds. Jordan, I don't know if I agree with that. It is a sentiment storyline to the large VAR, but holding such cash hurts the bullish story. I would argue it hurts the bankruptcy, like that bearish bankruptcy argument more. I would think that if they exhausted the buyback authorization back in January, February, March when they still had it, and I was one of the ones thinking that they should, that, you know what I mean? I get where you're coming from. It looks weak. I don't know that it looks weak. Weak's not the word that I would use. It may not be optimal capital allocation. That's fair, but I don't think the Bears give a shit. I don't think do the buybacks, get new buyback offering. That's the other thing too. We talk about announcement, add another bullet point. If they announce the buybacks, but announce a new one, right? And that's what Jordan's getting at. If they say we exhausted the buyback authorization, we're gonna do another one. $1 billion. $1 billion. You know what I mean? And we've talked about that on the stream. Maybe it was even Jordan. I can't remember. But indeed, that's what I was thinking. To exhaust that buyback authorization, I mean, it's $100 million. It didn't seem to me that much money, $100 million. But it's the story that it tells. That I didn't think that they could do it the past couple quarters. I felt like this was because of the bond exchange and stuff, and tremendous uncertainty following their store closures. And so I just think $100 million? Can't spare $100 million, but I think it was the message it was sending back then. And now that message has changed a bit in my analysis, but maybe I'm wrong about that, and that they do want to have a little bit extra cash. You know what I mean? Management often doesn't think like short-term. Well, not like short-term investors, absolutely. They get paid regardless of whether the stock goes up or down. Right. That's why Fox is always checking out what the incentive structure is for a lot of these management teams, which is important. This convo is delayed by like 5 minutes. My bad, Believe Dream. I can't keep up with it. I try my best. I feel like, how far behind am I? Where's Polygon? To make assumptions on what this team would do based on last team. No, I think Fox knows that. He knows a different team. He's been pointing to them as examples of where management teams can go wrong, I think. I've come to the brilliant conclusion. Oh, I didn't see this. What? The Twitter conversation regarding the guy saying GME does an acquisition? Oh, I didn't see that, but I would disagree with that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Fox was talking about generally, but in the context of... Yeah, so I agree. Fox says Mike was directed at management in general, but in the context of a company going through a pivot / transition / sees opportunity for growth, buybacks often become a low priority. Not to mention, to tag along to what Fox is saying, the marginal benefit of buybacks at a higher price point. That's not to say that, that's what I mean. At some point, the stock reaches a point where it's always best to execute the buybacks when the stock price is trading below fair value, ideally well below fair value, right? But it starts to get a little bit more difficult of analysis where, it's not necessarily optimal to do the buybacks. Number one is, I still think the stock trades below fair value. So even at this price point, I think in a vacuum, you do the buybacks. You know what I mean? But we're not in a vacuum. There's other opportunities, as Fox is talking about. These growth opportunities in reinventing their business could be a more valuable opportunity for them, where that trumps the fact that we're trading below legacy fair value. You know what I mean? Like that could, looking out 5 years, that cash may be more effectively deployed elsewhere. And as this price point keeps rising, if the stock price is at 3 or 4, the benefit is so gigantic that it's an easier decision. I think most of us would agree with this. But as that price ticks higher, it just becomes more difficult of a decision. It's not like an obvious do this, do that, in light of other opportunities that are ahead of them. His handle was something. Oh, I missed it, Steve. All right, if anyone has a link, you can send it to me. I can check it out. Oh, jeez. Foxed. Fox, are you me? Fox just said what I just said. Fox said, he said, if the stock is still $5 heading into the console cycle, I think potential for buyback would be 50. So this is my point, that marginal. Thank you, Fox. See, why should you just keep scrolling? Fox and Uber, answer my questions, you know? More visibility, more cash, more confidence. That's right, a lot of confidence. They did it at 6, so you agree with me they happened. Awesome, I did it. He agrees, buybacks confirmed. We were at 6, so what what Jordan's talking about is this. Following earnings, and we were I know Jordan was on the stream, we were talking about this. Right here, the stock was below, he said 5. Fox very carefully picked 5, but the stock was in the 6s for a couple of days. 4 full days, and we had a good amount of volume, maybe, and then volume ticked up, and then, see what I mean? Then it was right above 8. So it was tough. There wasn't much time. What was the volume on those days? But if they had a 10B51, as we've talked about, if they had a 10B51, they could have been buying, I think, right after earnings. But I think usually it's a 2-day delay. There's no reason to think that they do have that. A lot of folks have been talking about that for the past 12 months, and there's been no proof of anything. But yeah, following earnings, 15 million, 6 million, 10 million, 5 million, 19 million, and these were all sub $9. Yeah, it's 11 million. Just not that much. Have to run up. Board of directors will look around and say, but why buy at 12 when we could have bought... Oh, Fox, you said the whole damn thing. Why did I even answer? That's right. Oh, so my thing, Fox, I thought, well, not that this matters. I just quickly respond. My big thing about last quarter buybacks was the bond exchange interfered with any potential plan. Not that I thought that it was likely they were going to do it in light of the pandemic and stuff, but I felt also that the bond exchange impacted any subsequent purchases. Now it's behind them, and maybe they were just waiting for the end of the quarter, but that seems wishful thinking. You know what I mean? It seems like they could have done stuff in August, and they chose not to. Why? I don't know. But there's a small chance that they were just waiting for the quarter to be behind them and then move on it. That way, you know what I mean? That way the price ran up quick, but no, I don't know. But I kind of agree with that sentiment, Fox. Had platform creator here, waiting on them to buy. Oh, Zergnet, I have. Oh, acquisitions seem unlikely, just generally. Right after earnings, it was at 6. So Jordan just said that too. Dusty says, also, if you have cash orders, turnaround starts gaining momentum, led by the consoles, helps people view you a little different as well. Say the way around. Yeah. Okay. So Dusty talking about just having the cash hoard could potentially change sentiment a bit. Not so much as bankruptcy, but more viewing it more like a tech company to tag along. He's tagging along with what Fox is saying. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, Believe Dream. We were talking about that how Ryan Cohen's very selective with his stock picks, and GameStop was one of them, you know? Agree, no way they did above 10. Okay, so Jordan says if it happened, it already happened. Well, Fox, okay. Fox saying if you're saying they bought back, yeah, right. If they bought back post last earnings, then yes, more possible. I think we're all on the same page. Jordan too. If question is whether they will announce new ones during the upcoming quarter, then low probability. But that's the thing. If they did exhaust it, if I'm them, I announce a new one. I'm not saying you execute it next quarter, but you announce a new one. This is the time. It loses its not meaning, but its impact. If like, you know what I mean? I care less if the stock price is like $20, $30, and then it's like if you're still going to be an opportunity to do it, and you're crushing it over the next 12 months, have it in place immediately, just so you have it on the books. Oh, okay, Steve, what the hell are you talking about? I'm gonna try to track this down. I'll try to track that down. I'm reading though. Advertising stuff. Okay, Steve. No, I was saying talk about acquisitions. That's a different type of acquisition. A lot of folks are talking about gaming-related acquisitions, which kind of seemed unlikely. I'll try to track that down. I discount the likelihood of it, but where's the monthly at? Right there on the monthly. Yeah, so I agree with this, Steve. Right? Steve talking about the GameStop has that valuable DB. How many times have you seen me tweet about it? Right? It could be like a powerhouse on this advertising front in the gaming industry. It really could. And I think that's what Cohen sees. A lot of us have said that before. I think Cohen's also seeing just the general loyalty with 60 million plus, 20 million plus Power Up Rewards members who've been active roughly over the past year. And seeing it scale and stuff. There's a lot of things I think Cohen sees in GameStop, but I think that potential database that it has, it could be. And Steve's talking about how it could be a powerhouse within this space. I don't disagree with that. You know what I mean? I want more from. I want to see more before I'll weight that as likely and stuff. Right now it's just a talking point, but I keep tweeting about it and talking about it because no one's. It's a talking point that no one's talking about. No one's taken seriously. Everyone's so damn focused on the legacy business. It's like I feel like it's unfolding before everyone's eyes, and they can't get out. They can't get out from underneath themselves. You know what? They can't get out from in front of themselves. What's the phrase? They're getting in their own damn way. That's how I feel. But so even to talk about that possibility, I think is being missed by folks. But to take it super seriously, even I myself, I want to see more announcement on that front. Yeah, developing better. Yep, developing better, more targeted advertising. That's right, Steve. Okay, I'm intrigued. Network bet. Okay. I like this, Steve. This is good shit. Oh, okay. I'll try to track that down. How the hell? Okay, let me keep going. Okay. That's one that's a little bit more intriguing to me. You know what I mean? Like remember how I was just talking about like partnership type stuff? I don't know enough about that space to know what that would look like, but that's an intriguing one. Yeah, so I agree with Uber. Yep, I'd like to hear more about that in Q3. If they don't say anything, I'll ask. Okay. Yeah, I know. Talking about they clearly have the vision, right? I'm with you, Uber, right? It seems that, but we don't have enough of it. Enough of it isn't the right phrase. We don't. I wish that we knew more about it ourselves. But maybe, like I always say, when in doubt, there's if you trust. This is why it's so important to trust a management team, because some people are so negative on a management team, being like, questioning their every move. But if you know you have a good management team, right? It's important. They're not like beyond reproach. I'm not saying that, but it's like, all right, maybe there's a reason they're doing what they're doing. I feel like Jordan and I have had that conversation a couple months back. Like maybe there's a reason they're doing what they're doing. But I'm with you, just generally. That said, I still wish that I knew more too. Oh yeah, the buybacks usually on the quarterly, right? Usually you get it next quarter. Could have bought low in August, maybe part of the pop. No, because we have the latest share count on the 10Q, Dusty. So they couldn't have bought in August. Wow, Uber, you're down to 1% on the buybacks. Wow, closer to 1% on the buybacks. Okay, all right, okay, 1 to 10%. Yeah, they were being pressured early in the year. Notice how the pressure, there's been no pressure. I mean, I know Hestia is on the board now, there's been no, it's been, what I would say, what's intrigued me is I keep on talking about, like, I'm expecting some, like, I don't even know about material news and all that stuff, but I just mean it's been eerily quiet. You know, not even eerily. Eerily not the right word. It's been interestingly quiet. Sometimes I'll be tracking a company, right, and they're in a precarious financial position. When it gets quiet, I get nervous. I'm like, it's a harbinger. It's like bad news. You know what I mean? Like in this case, because I'm bullish, it could be good news. You know what I mean? Like so sometimes I'm like, they've been really quiet. The Microsoft news, right? And they had a couple of other big PRs. And maybe it's just because the consoles are here, and that's kind of it's weighing on me too much. It could be. That could be. But I keep on thinking, like, there was a lot more. I feel like there was a lot more chatter. Part of it was the board seats, too, for Hestia and Perm. A lot of back and forth on that front. And then Barry was talking about the vote. So a lot of it had to do with the vote. This is true. And then store closures. A lot going on. But if you trust, that's what I mean. If you trust that management team, some of this stuff is like they're thinking through best next steps. COVID trumps buybacks, right? Especially as in addition to all the other reasons we were laying out, that's kind of ties into the uncertainty. Okay. Cash preservation in the bond. In Uber, as you know, they said the same thing on the conference call. They made it abundantly clear that the bonds were the priority from a capital allocation standpoint. I mean, they all but said they were gonna buy them back and close them out, which I guess is a given. But anyway, so thanks for sharing. But so okay, sorry, just jumped on me. But thank you for sharing that Uber. You know what I mean? Uber saying that IR said the same thing: cash preservation. The March 21 bond in that order. What more do we need? You know what I mean? What more do we need? I think at some point it just becomes wishful thinking. I'm not as low as 1% though, and like I said, it's because of what they did last year. But what they're telegraphing to us is making it their priorities are definitely set. So thanks for sharing that, Uber. And if you don't check out the transcript, y'all too, because they said it in the last conference call. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll check that out. All right, later, Fox. Enjoy dinner. Oh, nice find, Uber. That's a good find on the EA stuff. Hey, Tea Tree. I'm not sure I agree with that, but welcome. Hey, Dusty, I'll show you. So Dusty asking about those buybacks. I'll just show you quick. So it would because it was this earnings, but I'll tell this is the tell, Dusty. If you go to the 10Q, is it right on the cover page? The date, the document end date right here. Let's go to the balance sheet. Do I gotta open up the actual 10Q? If you go to the top of the 10Q, I guess I do. Is it not it? I guess it's not clear, but if you go to the top of the 10Q and right here, Dusty. The number of shares outstanding as of September 2nd, 2020 is 65 million. So if they had bought back, usually it comes next quarter. However, in this case, if they did bought, they would have announced it right then and there. That's what I mean. Usually it happens. When this quarter around? What was that quarter again? What the hell am I I doing? Yeah, August 1st, right? So that's the confusion there. Right, so I guess that's the hypothetical blackout period, I guess. And then the bond exchange is just ended, so they might have had only a couple quarters, but still, it seems like they could have. Oh shit, what happened? I'm caught up? Oh, sick, I'm caught up. Who said that? Okay, Chris Balder, tomorrow we get him. I'll pop that up too. Wow, that is old, huh? I just clicked that. Hey, thanks for sharing those links. So it couldn't be any older than that. Yeah, that's right, Dusty. So you can always check this stuff out. That gives you the latest. And sometimes there's a blackout period from the time the quarter ends, which would have been August 1st until they report. So there's like 6 weeks there. Sometimes you can get around that technically, I believe. And so they wouldn't have been buying back that whole time anyway. I'm pretty sure. And then so it would have kicked in immediately following earnings, or it could have kicked in immediately following earnings, but more likely a day or two out. In which case it'd be those couple of days. But I think it seems unlikely. So, but not higher than 1% for me. Still with sub 10 until the 30th. So still on the table, and that 7 to 8 range would be a reasonable theory. I agree. For what it's worth, historically they hadn't really bought back much. If you check this 10Q from last December, you can kind of see the price points that they got at. This was from so they bought back none last year in August. Then in September, pretty much in September, they bought 15 million, which was a shit ton right after earnings. And based on this we've pulled this up before. Based on this weighted average price paid per share, $4.99, right? You see 15 million at $4.99 from September through October 5th, and then you pop up. I mean, to have bought back at a weighted average price of $4.99, it had to happen shortly after earnings. This was when earnings were September 10th, and then boom, boom, boom. It sold off a couple of days, got to low 430. I know you can't see that, but this is like 430 right down here, and then boom, 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 and then it's already above 5 come September 23rd. So they announced on like September 10th, September 11th, and then by September 23rd, the price was above 5. And still, they they weighted average cost of $4.99, which just telegraphed they were super aggressive. Boom, 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 boom. And then they bought some. They had a weight. Oh man, didn't we have their peak price? Why was I thinking that we knew they bought back at 6? So you can see their weighted average has been around in the 5s. So that's the thing. 7-8 still for us might seem cheap, but maybe for them it gets a little bit. That's a bit steeper of a price point for them. It just depends. I'm not totally sure. Let me check the 10Q after that. The 10K. Could have. Did they buy back? Kind of forget. There you go. So they only bought back a small amount. November 3rd, they brought back. That's it. I had seen they bought up to $5.76, which this was small, and then they bought up to 5. So all their purchases on a weighted average cost basis, it could have been they bought a little bit above that, but everything under 6. For what that's worth, just a little bit of a reference. Yeah, it could have been. It could have been. We talked about that after. We talked about that. It could have been. Because there was quite a bit of volume shortly after it, Dusty. What was it when they report? The 9th? I think. 15 million, 10 million, 19, 17. So there was a lot of volume, but as it turned, and then it quieted down quite a bit, but there was also the Ryan Cohen news too. So tough analysis. Sorry, not because they are already focused on. All right, thanks for sharing that, Steve. I mean, I discount this stuff, right? I appreciate you sharing this. I'm going to look into it even more. Because didn't I talk about it in the stream earlier? I couldn't think about how a partnership on that front might look like. You're helping build out my thinking. I don't necessarily think this is particularly likely. But I'll have to take a peek at it. But at the network. Yeah. No, I agree. So Steve, it's good food for thought for someone like me, because I keep on talking about I don't even know. I'm not an expert in that space at all. I'm pretty ignorant, and I don't even know how partnerships in that area look like, or even outright acquisitions, right? I don't know what types of things you look for. I'm embarrassingly ignorant for the amount I'm talking about it for GameStop. I wish I could learn more. So this type of stuff, you at least get me thinking about that shit, right? Hey, yo, Jim Bell, let's go! Oh, is there an update on the election stuff? Is there an update? I don't even know where to look for the update. Where's the needle pointing? Where's the needle pointing, you know? Oh, what's future? What are we doing on the market here? Where do we close? Hey, big green, big green. Wait, it wasn't up today, right? Yeah, it was down, right? It was just Yahoo's getting buggy. Yahoo's buggy. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Dusty. Just curious. I didn't get. Oh, it bounced above 11? Oh. And then what are futures doing? Futures were interesting last night, right? They were up big, then they were down, and then small caps were crushed, and then it kind of reversed. Look at this again. It's going again. Everything's kind of, I mean, this is noise. Don't make no mistake, but everything else is green and small cap's down. Wow. Whew. Small cap, I assume value and stuff. Rough. Wow. Never updated these charts, by the way. Well, I don't have to update that one. That one looks okay. There's also a thing, too. So I've been removing my dividend. I removed the dividend adjustments. But then I think I accidentally looked at this in its own... Oh, shit. Wait, why did it go back? Oh, because it's a saved chart. Can't I just do that? And this looked like even more aligned. Let me just check this. Did it? Let me do a box. It looks about the same. Okay, just curious. I mean, not that there were many dividends in that time, but even still, it's close enough. Now we're splitting hairs. Now we're splitting whiskers. All right, let me just do this one. The monthly was a little bit off. Let me just see this one. I'm just kind of curious. For shits and giggles, my friend. All right, so it's back in there on that one. So dumb. So marginal analysis alert. Marginal analysis alert. Beep, 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 boop. Oh, let me update. Oh, I didn't. Shit. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so that's okay. That looks fine. Update that. That looks fine. This one's messy, huh? It's good enough. I'm going to keep all this shit on there. I don't care. It seems to be holding up. I mean, I know it's not in any of the shit, but this one's clearly broken. I thought that was interesting. And then you got the moving averages, and then this one, I'll just keep that on there. That's fine. Whatever. Oh, let me just extend these. Holding up. Holding up. Holding up. Look at that. Oh, it got right up to the box. It came back down. Holy shit, kid. That's pretty cool, huh? That's pretty cool. Okay, see, that's almost too short, right? At least with, if I'm doing 15-minute chart, can I just do a little bit of a longer line? Could I, please? Okay. And then if I wanted to be really, how do I do this again? I kind of forget. I don't usually use these all that often. What do I do? This? Can I do this? Boom. Oh, shit. Boom. And then boom. All right, let's see. We'll check it on Friday. We'll see how stupid this was. We'll know soon enough how stupid this was. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, shit. Do we get an update? Okay. Georgia's looking like it's going. Okay. No, your dad did. Well, let's hope it works out for your father, you know? Also, I estimated Tony, but to be fair, flipping other ways off the table. Okay. I mean, yeah, because those are it turned out to be, there was a couple of them that were way bigger than I appreciated. A couple of the states that were way, I'm just curious. He's going to end up at 270? That's what's going to be nuts, you know? Okay. So we'll keep that going there. Won't matter if Arizona and Georgia are both. Oh. Oh, Spider Cat sees a smiley face. Where do we see the smiley face? Oh, yeah. Right here. Boom, boom, boom. This is for Spider Cat. Let's just do it. We'll keep it in here. Spider Cat does whatever Spider Cat does. All right, I think those are updated. Marginal analysis alert, keep that going. So yeah, so I wanted to pop these back up. So this was, I talked about this. Oh yeah, and then and so I wonder if this just becomes like a quarterly announcement. That's what I was thinking. Okay. And what are futures doing? Okay. Oh, yeah, it's flat. Is this futures? No, that was the market. Okay. It's flat. Nothing happening. Yeah, boy. I guess not as big a move as I thought. It's a big one-day move. This is the Russell versus the S&P, but not much. Okay. Off. Okay. Let me open up the tracker. I actually didn't. I looked a bit at what market was doing. Oh, there were some comments here that I liked too. Uber, I like some shit you were saying. Did we review that one? Saw a big uptick in volume in the afternoon. Dip of the right-hand side of the chart. Uptick in volume? A little bit, okay. Relative to earlier in the day, sure. Looks like it. Like we talked about too, if anything does come, like if any news does come, this would have been a little bit of a bear trap of sorts. You know what I mean? Because for many of us, the fundamentals hasn't changed at all. But that price action just got some folks out. It maybe reinvigorated some of the bears. But then if they just suddenly announce something, then this looks, that looked like it was quickly bought up. Oh, okay. Let me dig a little bit deeper here. Pulling up a 5-minute chart. Oh, right here. So Uber, that's what Uber's talking about. So what happened? What time was that? About 2 o'clock. Boom, 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 boom. And then got bid up. But then got bid up. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because it was down quite a bit. Oh, yeah. And then it closed at 1090, right. Because it was down like 8-9%, wasn't it? Oh, so check out this. So what is this? 5 minute? You kind of seeing similar thing right there, huh? Trump needs PA, Georgia. Right. So that's what I was seeing. You know, it looked highly unlikely that that was going to unfold that way. Oh, but he's still leading there? Yeah, but what the forecasting, what's in the pipeline? I don't know. All right, so let's see what the hell happened. Oh, Shumsert was red today. Damn, small caps, really, huh? Market was cranking today, huh? But this shit wasn't. Boy, they're all negative. Was anything up? Travel centers. Oh, was there news? What the hell is this? Sort by 9. That'll fix, right? What the hell's going on? There it goes. All right, so only travel centers. Some of the home building stuff was up. Oh, home building stuff was up good. That stuff been cranking, huh? Wow, Trump at 13%. Wow, okay. Yeah, what a crazy volatile on that front. It would have been a good, you know what I mean? The value investor could have been a good value investor's play. You know what I mean? To bet on, just odds-wise, you could potentially bet on the incumbent at pretty good odds going into the election. And then on what was perceived to be a favorite going into the election at really good odds, and then you could have done quite well, I assume. Oh, it's real slow right now. I hope the stream's holding up. It looks like the stream's holding up okay. Yeah, quiet day. What happened with TA? 17%. Yeah, that was a volatile one. That one could run. That one could keep running. Oh, they announced today, right? I figured that was the case. I remember talking about adding to that position a couple of months back, and I didn't because it never pulled back all that much. But look at that chart. You know what I mean? Boom. You know what? It actually did pull back. I think I talked about adding below 20, and I just didn't. Look at that. Shit. This was one I would have added to, too. I don't know what my excuse is. It's a fundamental play that just... sometimes this shit just aligns with the chart. Oh, shit. I could have sworn I mentioned it on a stream a couple months ago saying... when it popped. When was this? Right there. It was an August stream, right? Before we were, like, exclusively focused on GameStop. Damn. Look at that chart. Some of the more speculative names do a good job of tracking the chart. This is the daily. What's my excuse? What's my excuse for not buying that September drop back down to 17? Look at that shit. Just wasn't paying attention. That's always my excuse. Damn. I still felt that there was quite a bit of upside too. I don't remember which stream it was, but... bummer. Would they announce? Increases in net income. Well, that's going to be, yeah. It's a lot of operating leverage. Talk about operating leverage on a company. A ton of revenues. They do the service stations along the highway. You may know them. Travel centers, you know them. You may have pumped gas at one of these places. They raised $80 million in an equity offering. Damn it. It's not that big of a position. I mean, it's almost 1%. Now it is a good chunk, you know what I mean? But back in the day, it sold off way, way too much. I would definitely buy it in right here. I don't even know if I am. Ah, man. Bummer. Missed opportunity. See what I mean? If you're just paying attention, tracking stuff, and in this particular case, this doesn't happen with every position, but I felt that there was still tremendous value where it could, even when it was I was buying in right here at about $8, but I thought this could be a 5-bagger, right? So figure $40, you know what I mean? But $40 plus. Look at the long term. Look at the longer term chart. It's tremendous. It's looked terrible. I don't think has there been dividends? Oh yeah, okay, that's no good because they even did they did a reverse split. That's right, they did a reverse split. And I remember thinking if they could, I wanted to wait for the chart too because the chart was really looking suspect. But then it broke below here. I'm like, what's going on? This looks real bad. And then there was some managerial changes that were happening. I thought, oh shit, this could get interesting. And then this was one of my plays where I'm like, the financial setup isn't that strong, but I didn't think it was going to go bankrupt, so I pulled the trigger on it, even though it was a little bit sus relative to some other opportunities. And then boom, 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 boom. Once it turns, it can just keep on running. It's not a tremendous, like a compounder Warren Buffett type position or anything like that, but I don't typically deal in those. But it was one that I'm like, this thing could have legs. And now look where it is. That's right. What is this? The monthly? Give me the weekly. It's just so much. There was just a lot of upside if they could make shit work. A lot of companies have tremendous upside, but they can't pull it off, and then it doesn't work out. But that's okay. But sometimes we're at that $18 level right now, huh? Right around there. Ooh, it's peaking. It's peaking above right now. I should have added just a marginal add, you know, whatever. The weeks before Q3, UME has plenty of time to go lower. I don't know, Johan. I also think it has plenty of opportunity to bounce back up. You know what I mean? Peaked around 75% late last night before the count. Okay. Yeah, what a swing, huh, Uber? Crazy. Well, that's a good. Spider Cat asking, who's my favorite investor to follow? Mine is Michael Burry. Mainly because of his opportunity strategy, and in fact, he played Batman. Oh, shit. That's a good question. So I follow a bunch of people, but I'd have to say the top one of an individual person, yeah, probably Barry. I have a lot of overlap with a lot of the companies that he invests in, or ones that I invest in as well. Some of them I see that he is invested in first, but other ones he clearly sees that I have invested in them first. He's probably tuned into the stream. Hello, Michael Burry. I hope you're having a nice Wednesday. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Spider Cat. I'm kidding. But yeah, but there's some other folks too. A lot of the value investor folks I'm checking out. Right, that's the thing. There's not too many small value folks. Like Toll Deep Value is one. They're a deep value shop that I kind of respect many of their stock picks. But individuals, it's like Bari, it's like Einhorn. I know Einhorn, everyone makes fun of them these days because Valley's been underperforming for a while. But I have some overlap with Einhorn as well. Klarman, not as much because he's just a gigantic fund. But I'm looking at his picks too. It's usually more funds that I might be taking a peek at. I got some right here. Funds one, like here's here you go, boom. Like I got Scion's right at the top. I said Toll, Greenlight. There you go. The first four I listed. Fairfax. I've had some overlap with them. That's the Canadian Warren Buffett. Abrams. We had a big win. Him and I in Camping World. He, I believe, is a Baupost acolyte. I believe he came from Baupost originally. And then he got his own fund. I crossed paths with him like 4 years ago on some names, which worked out well. And now I'll occasionally track what he's doing. And then some other names too. I mean, like some popular names here that you recognize, right? There's some. And then there's some other ones. These ones are a little bit less. I'm not checking in as frequently, but some if I'm looking to screen or something. And when shit's hitting the fan, like in March and April, and I'm like just trying to check and stuff, I may pop some of these up. Hopefully we get to the point in the stream where like come the quarter end or come when these funds file, we'll just walk through and kind of review some of their positions and stuff if we have time. Right now we're still focused on GameStop, but you can only talk about one stock for so long. But that's sometimes what I'll do, and kind of go through some of their positions and see where there's some overlap and stuff, see if they're adding, see how big of a position it is of their portfolio, see how much percentage of the company they own, that type of stuff. Good question, Spider Cat. I'd say I got Bari listed there first because we just have a lot. We have a surprisingly good amount of overlap. Yeah. I also noticed T and I were doing similar things in March and August where it was it was like a lot of options activity was looking interesting because the market was kind of pricing in some really pessimistic outcomes, and it appears as though that's what he did too. Oh, that's a nice chart. Oh, I forget what chart I just had. Oh, is it TA? Yeah, the consoles next week could create some retail rush, but I'm more obviously the short term type stuff, right? So if you're trying to predict short term stuff, that stuff could matter, but for sustainable moves, that's probably what's more important. Put it in the missed opportunity notes. Oh, that's. But I think. But does it count as a missed opportunity? Oh, okay, you're right. So Steve Stonk talking about my notes. Steve Stock knows though that missed opportunity notes, right? It's long. So these are some. I'm gonna do adding missed. Oh, I get it. Look at this, Steve. I already got adding to the position missed opportunities. RFP, CVGI. Oh, perfect, Steve Stock on the ball, kid. TA. That was a very clean miss. Like I say, like sometimes I'm more active than others, and then when I'm really dialed into stuff and really being like do this and do that, right now the number of positions is too much. But that would have been a perfect if it were a like higher conviction play. Just I'm not saying you double up necessarily, but just layer it back on because now the trend is starting to move in my favor. Just layer it on incrementally. So that's what it means. Like I'm a value investor, but I'm not afraid to add on the moves up. I used to be. I'm not like that anymore. Where there's a case to be made from a capital allocation standpoint that you don't want to have dead money just sitting around for a year or two. That can be a profitable strategy, right? Everyone has their own unique style. My style is I don't want to keep money tied up for a full year or something unless it's a tremendous opportunity perhaps or which that can happen. But otherwise, I might just say, all right, it's a position and I'll just layer on as it starts to move up. That way, maybe it doubles after only 3 months as opposed to a year and 3 months. You know what I mean? And when you're dealing in like super discounted stocks, that can happen quick. You know what I mean? If you're looking at a 5-bagger, so then once it doubles, it goes up 2x, but it can still go up another double from there. Then it's nice to layer on there if the chart's looking good. You know what I mean? That's my style. Everyone has different styles. I know, Jordan. Oh, Jordan's right. Your excuse, you were drunk discussing GME. Don't worry, I'll bear your pain. Cheers all. Chat Friday. Later, Jordan. Have a good week. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong, is he? He ain't wrong. Shit. That's why if GME just work out, it would just be all fine. You know what I mean? It would be cool. Oh, yeah. Reflexivity, that's right. Cheers, Uber, huh? Cheers. Good word that we probably don't say enough on this chat on the stream. An impact on GME with the actual increased foot traffic to GME and visibility around their products in the mass media. So I agree with Uber on this front. And what are you tagging along with what Dusty just said, right? With the lines outside the stores and stuff like that. I mean, to some extent, I would argue this already happened. I'm sure probably Uber would agree with that. And then what's happened over the past couple of months, just to revisit, this is why I was posting that stuff to my Twitter. Like I said, I'm trying to have some fun on Twitter, but I'm also trying to remember what's unfolding. And when the stock started breaking out, I mean, there's just so many things that then you get in the fundamental news, a big investor taking a stake. Then you're breaking out to a 52-week high. Then the chart is looking super bullish because it retested and broke out. And then it hits another 52-week high. And then all of a sudden you're 1 month closer to the consoles. And then you're seeing the pre-orders. And then you're seeing long lines out the stores. And it starts feeding upon itself, right? It's that reflexivity, as Uber was just saying, and it helps support legitimate moves in favor of what closer to fair value. You know what I mean? And it just feeds on itself. And for many folks who have been in this, and I know Uber himself's been in the stock for a while, you've seen this. You haven't had this for a while. You finally have it, and for the first time in a long time, a lot of this stuff is finally tilted in your favor, and that's why it's important not to get too too pessimistic on some near-term outcomes just because a couple of pullbacks here. This is still in effect, as are these reflexive type things where next week likely the election will be behind us and the new consoles are here. And GameStop will be benefiting from that, and the market will maybe start to realize it, and then people will be shopping at GameStop come the holiday season. You know what I mean? Black Friday, the actual holiday season. And then they'll be reporting out, and even still, it still hasn't gone off crazy because it helps to support this move. But this is why I still think you got a tailwind here on this front that still seems a bit discounted by the market, but not by me. But we'll see. Yeah, I like this. I like that level. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see next week. But it's more about those sustainable moves. Now as the weeks pass, this is more. We're sustainably above. This has been look at this. We've been above 10. I mean, there was 1 week there where it closed below, but now we're at, what are we at, 6 weeks with close above 10? One? Okay, and then 1 week it closed below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got a good, that $10 pretty solid. And then if we get some good news, incremental news, it pops off from there. And then people are remembering in their head, oh yeah, Ryan Cohen, oh yeah, Michael Berry, oh yeah, 52-week high, and then all that stuff. And what's the short interest? And then people even talking about that stuff, and then it's like, shit. A lot of idiosyncrasies with GameStop. You don't see this too much with value stocks. And I don't quite know how it's going to unfold, but it's such an unusual setup. Okay, talking the potential outcomes there, yeah. And the potential market impact, okay. I know, right, Uber? It always works in the inverse. All right, y'all have some market opinions. I don't have strong market opinions. Like I said, like I've been saying the past couple of weeks, it's more the uncertainty the market doesn't like, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that the market is up as much as this, and that's because, as I was saying, I felt that last week's pullback was overdone. I thought that was a bit too much. I didn't know for sure, right? That was my opinion. It just seemed a bit overdone in GameStop too. Although GameStop's kind of leveling off. That's the thing. I thought it was unlikely it would keep on heading lower. And the same thing for the market. I didn't think it was necessarily going to head up lower, but I'm kind of impressed with how strong it's bounced in these couple of days, considering there's still quite a bit of uncertainty. It's kind of interesting. But as far as looking out a couple of weeks and a couple of months, I'm not so sure this. I don't have strong opinions on broad market type stuff, but I'm not so sure. I would say I tilt more short-term bullish. I think president aside, whoever it is, president-elect aside, I think. But I'm no expert on this stuff. I don't know. I just thought that the market uncertainty and then kind of in a bit of an uptrend. Was this the daily? What's the weekly looking like? Remind me. High or low? Low or high? Psh, psh. I don't know. And then you get the whole, as we know, countries are shutting down again, right? So it's not like you're out of the woods yet. I'm not saying shit like that, but yeah, I don't know. That stuff, this is real. This is on par with my technical analysis and marginal type stuff. I don't hold strong opinions. I wasn't making pre-election type moves or anything like that. I don't know what I'm doing on that front. So kind of just fun speculation for me. Oh, I did see that, Uber, yeah. Uber saying the video game boom caused by the pandemic is expected to send industry revenue up 20% this year, right? For even, well, I don't know if it's normalized for the consoles, but to 175 billion. Wow, when I did my video, I think I saw 150 billion. Outstripping earlier forecasts and dwarfing the market's growth in 2019. Just incredible. Projected revenue, which includes mobile, console, and personal computing games, will climb 3 times faster than last year, according to Newzoo. Oh yeah, Newzoo was who I quoted in my in that GameStop video. Biggest ever adjustment in its outlook to account for the pump. Wow. Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Uber. Yeah. So I'd agree with that, Dusty. The reflexivity with regard to the console launch, I think that's applicable too. Same thing. I grouped that right in with everything else. Next week, through in addition to the long build on known release, right? But again, it's about the sustainable moves, and if those folks are just in it for a quick I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing, though. Very short-term stuff. If I had to have an opinion, I'd agree with that. That do I have it up anywhere? There it is. That I mean, all else equal, if you know new consoles are coming out next week, and the stock price is down in this range right here, are you bearish or bullish? Of course, I tilt bullish. You know what I mean? If I had to come up with that short-term opinion, that's not high conviction analysis, not a recommendation, blah, blah, blah. But of course, I mean, I tilt bullish next week, right? With this setup, this pullback, it's already pulled back and sold off, and then the new console's coming out. And this is a big part of that is because of that reflexivity and, of course, the undervaluation, right? I mean, it's undervalued, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I mean? Like, if it's below 10 at the end of next week, I'm going to be like, what the hell? I'm going to be like, oh, damn. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll see. That'd be something. I think the growth in gaming is underestimated. Yeah, well, it's going to be a huge... I mean, some people are factoring into this model, right? The growth in the industry and stuff and how it's going to impact GameStop. But I think it's going to have an outsized impact on GameStop. That's what I think. I can only prove that with fundamental performance. Otherwise, it's just speculation, you know? But I really think that. Oh, sick. Oh, it's from Bloomberg. Oh, there was a Wall Street Journal one. I don't know if y'all saw that I meant to. I liked it, but I should have retweeted it, and I messed up because I tweeted out that I tweeted out that one, and I meant to retweet, and I forgot. But I was when I saw this one by oh shit, where is it? I liked it, didn't I? Right here. There was this Wall Street Journal one that Reggie had tweeted out there. No mention of GameStop, but even still talking about, like, this is that reflexivity aspect too. I thought there'd be more headlines talking about gaming, talking about stuff. Not so many folks talking about GameStop, which is kind of surprising to me. I still think that they'll come, but here we are, new consoles, but maybe headed into the actual holiday season. But okay, I'll check out that Bloomberg one too. Oh shit, November 4th. I missed it. Oh, I can't. Can I not see it? All right, I'll check that out. I'll check that one out later. Thanks for. I missed that Uber. Okay, I'll check that out. That's right. So, Dusty, we've talked about that a number of times on the stream, how gaming was, I don't know about last console cycle, but looking back 20 years, how it wasn't as mainstream. And now it's like, I got to say the cool kids, but like everyone plays it. Multi-generational, as some folks have said too. Like, there's no stigma associated with it. You know what I mean? Like that's done. And it's just in part of the, and that leads to just a much larger. I mean, people are watching people game and stuff. There's just tremendous demand. It's a cultural phenomenon. So I agree. I think everyone agrees with that, Dusty. And I think, but people are underestimating how it's going to positively impact GameStop. That's my take. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Dusty, that some covering may have happened with the recent dips too. Just because it was such a big drop, you know? For the first time. It's the first time. Look at that weekly drop. Wow. Almost a full 33%. It was around 30, 31%. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe they did. But it probably only would have been incremental. Yeah, because think about it. There was one. Could have had shorts on that week, this week, that week. Boom. Later, Uber. Have a nice night, dude. Oh, well, it could still be at 11, Dusty. I mean, there's no guarantee that just because stuff's coming out next week that it pops well above 11. I'm not saying that. Just that if I had to pick one, I tilt bullish. But I think I'd be surprised, much more surprised below 10 than at 11. You know, we're at 11 right now. It could stay flat. But yeah, election stuff, sucking oxygen. That's probably part of it. It's probably part of it. Only so many articles and headline grabbers next week will be. I kind of agree with that too, Dusty. And we'll see. I mean, we could get news tomorrow or something, but I don't know. Just so close now. But I mean, I understand people's perspective on thinking that. But if you're gonna have something related to consoles, you would want it to be close. I just don't think it would be some major news at all. That's all. Big question on the covering is, did new bears come in? Yeah, and if they did, it was just small, right? That's a good question, Dusty. Varun, hello, Varun. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Oh, what do you say? There won't be covering before the ER. Oh, yeah. No, probably not much, Hugo. I tend to agree, unless something's announced that is kind of surprising to folks, but not the base case. It's just not the base case. That stuff that you don't usually get 40% moves on partnership type news. By the way, we're below what that price was at the end of that day. What news you gonna say about releases other than coming a few days before anyway, right? Like I was talking about, like partnership type stuff or advertising type stuff, or some digital updates, some update on the digital front. You know what I mean? Just that type of stuff. I don't know if you're actually asking me, but I'm just talking about that type of stuff that's maybe more impactful on a bearish thesis than just, hey, the new consoles are coming, right? Jordan laid out a couple of examples earlier in the chat of like types of things that they might mention, and I agree with Fox that it won't be that taken as that bullish by some folks. Yeah, I don't know what they're expecting. We'll see. I think they're betting on long-term secular decline, right? That's what I'm thinking. So unless there's crazy news on the quarter, it's probably not going to change much. Okay, so all right, Miss Tom. Thank you, Steve Stunk, for reminding me. Okay, so that's why that was up, but not much else. Some home building shit, some healthcare stuff, casinos and gambling a bit. Wow, Penn National Gaming really crushed it, huh? I kept on talking about Camping World, but this was a 10-bagger too for me. I think, did I get the full 10-bagger? No, I didn't. I got a 5-bagger. I didn't get down here. I just missed it. I think I got. Did I get right here? No, I don't know if I did. I think I got right here. And then I was trimming all the way up, so I didn't get. It's not like the full position got that, but I was like, damn, that was a beast. Okay, but really largely quiet, considering how big of an update it was, right? Just a big. What did it do? I mean, I know it was mostly tech, but even the S&P 500, and I was up 2%, and everything in this portfolio was kind of quiet. PBF popping? No, not popping. Oh yeah, what's Bitcoin doing? I added at the right time that Bitcoin one, huh? I think I added about 20%, and now it's about 15. I think it was still at 14 when I added. Not up much, but even still. That's looking. Do I add again? Oh, it's overbought. What about on the weekly? Oh, this is the weekly. Holy shit. Well, that's bullish. It's the daily doing. It's got to hold. Ooh, it's right there. Wow. What's the monthly doing? Jeez. Okay, so that's true too, Dusty. Dusty talking about the timing of that type of news too could make sense later. That's a fair point, right? Like I was just talking about earlier, that sometimes, especially if it's good if you trust the management team, you kind of trust that they're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I don't claim to know better than them. I just share what my expectations were, and then just adjust accordingly. But maybe it does make sense to if there was something that it's announced next week, the week of the console. You know what I mean? That totally could be. I was just saying that I expected if there was going to be something that could be happening, but I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Maybe it makes sense closer to the holidays, you know? So that's a fair point. Yeah. All right, that's looking interesting though. Maybe on a pullback. Maybe on a pullback. Look at that. It's right there. Okay. But largely quiet. Because everything's sold off so aggressively, I guess. And CYH pulling back. That must have been a Trump play, huh? Remember I was asking? Wow. WTTR. Wow. $3? Jeez. Dipping below, huh? Wow. Wow. Oh yeah, I've seen this. Fluids Doc talked about FTK one time. It's kind of a, was more industry type article, like a business type article rather than security analysis. All right, they do a little bit of security analysis. He says significant upside. I wish there was some insider buying. Anyone buying this? Looked like an interesting opportunity. They get the water rights for a lot of the fracking in a lot of the fracking areas. No one's buying? Shit. They just announced. Looks like shit. Like times like this is where I get a chart like this, right? Looks like shit, right? But I'm like, okay. But if it's not, if it is going to come back in favor, let me phrase it like that. If this stock is going to come back in favor, right? This could be a good opportunity to add or buy or go heavy. And now I'm incentivized to be like, well, wait a second. Especially if I remember in my mind that fair value is closer to like 15, 20 bucks. Now we're on 5-bagger potential. And so here I'm like, oh, that's good. It'd be nice to get that extra double. Then it goes and does nothing. And you can see the reason why it could be good, even if you're a longer-term investor, to take profits. You know what I mean? On a quick double. Because then if you say you got 15, right? And then you're like, oh, if you can double again. But now look how much time has passed. Almost another, 5 months? And it's got halved again. And so it could be good. It could be beneficial to manage the positions accordingly. But I wish I could see. What are the bonds doing? As I recall, wasn't that heavily leveraged? I believe it was pretty strong. It was more the business risk. Industry risk, business risk. Yeah, I don't even know if they have bonds. There wasn't a tremendous amount of margin of safety because it was still kind of like growing and trying to buy up those water rights and stuff. I don't know if this is right, but EV to EBITDA of 2.2? Wow. I'd have to dig into that, right, to just confirm. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I think I do have some figures in here. Do I? Let me see. So my EV to EBITDA to EV is minus point. Maybe that's not updated. They just reported today, so that's not updated. It's not adjusted or anything like that, too. Oh, is it just a trade? Trades at half a book. Trades a little bit below tangible book. Trades at. As I learned it, I learned it to price to P to E, P to S. And now, but the right way to do it is to put price in the denominator, but I still have a hard time, like, how do I say it? It's priced below book. Book is 1.6 times price, which means it's trading below book value, but not a huge discount, even at $3, which is it got positive earnings? It might not. Had some cash flow though. So you can kind of see some of these things. Just some quick metrics that I take a peek at. Plus, they need to be adjusted and stuff, too. They're not super reliable. Man, I wish I could see someone buying or someone doing something to this. You know what I mean? But I think I like the downside protection there. I got to double check. According to what I see, they're not covered and won't do it because the last hit for GME is expected to be in Q3. GME can give us good surprise, but who knows? Yeah. True. Shorts still expecting a drop in Q3. That's the thing. My thing with that, Hugo, is that I think a good chunk of the shorts are long-term shorts. So you know what I mean? They were shorting. They were shorting when the stock was at $4. You know what I mean? So if the stock falls from 10 to 8, so what? 10 to 6, so what? They were betting. What was clear was that they were betting on bankruptcy. Like that their cards have been revealed because I don't know how, you never know who's been short, how long they've been short. You know what I mean? I don't know this stuff. I'm just basing this off the level of short interest. And you can see, do I have one up? No, we posted it. I liked something recently. Someone posted it somewhere. I got it here. Right there. That'll do. Like when you saw short interest where it was, you know what I mean? It became clear this is what they're doing. They think the company's going bankrupt. And now even if this is the thing, so even if the stock sells off, Hugo, even if it sells off 30% and we're at 6, 7, so what? Unless there's been a tremendous amount of turnover in the short interest, which could be. I have no clue. Maybe those shorts who are betting on bankruptcy are gone. Maybe they're no longer short. And someone else is shorted at higher prices. They have taken over. They represent a larger chunk of the short interest. And now they will be up if the stock sells off 30%. You know what I mean? So I don't know this stuff. I'm just thinking I suspect a good chunk. I'm guessing that a good chunk is still the same shorts, in which case we know what they were doing. They were betting on bankruptcy. And I think it's highly unlikely they get that. Highly unlikely they get that, which is why it's perplexing that the short interest is still as high as it is. But maybe they traded out and we got a lot of turnover. I don't know. But that's why I'm not so sure Q3 could be impactful, except those marginal shorts. So if no one did close this past week, if no one did close, that's the thing. It's such a big move. You would think some would, you know? But if they didn't, then a sell-off could be another opportunity for those marginal shorts to close. But I don't know. Also, if the stock pops, could be another opportunity to short more. You know what I mean? Oh, it jumped back an hour and you're confused. I know, yeah, I know, Hugo, right? Well, we're definitely thinking about it too much, especially on the short side, right? The short side, the short interest will take care of itself. We talk about that because you never see that, right? It's fascinating, it's intriguing, it's educational. You just never see that. I never see it with the level of confidence that I have juxtaposed with that level of short interest. I never see it, so I'm intrigued by it. But at the end of the day, the fundamentals will take care of all this. If they start pulling this stuff off that they've talked about, they're pulling off, the short interest they'll have to close, blah, blah, blah. And so I think people might just be frustrated because of the timing aspect. You know what I mean? They want it to happen sooner. They want it to be this crazy, big squeeze, something like that. But don't worry. I mean, that's why a little bit of a sideshow. Don't worry about that stuff. That's my style. If you have a different style, so be it. But my style is like, yeah, whatever. If it happens, that's great. But otherwise, I just try to. That's why most of my tweets, I'm tweeting not so much about the short end. I'm tweeting about the fundamentals because I still think people aren't really dialed into the real thesis here, what's really unfolding for those long-term growth prospects for the company, that they are going to be able to replace some of these software sales that they'll be losing. And on top of that the software sales will persist for longer than people think. I think it's just that sentiment just went. And then you see stuff like this, and then people making fun of it, and that layers on to that bearish sentiment. You know what I mean? Like people think, oh, what's going on here? Are they still around? I saw the Barstool stuff too. I did see people talk about that Barstool stuff where he was. I went to go get the pizza, Portnoy, and then he was right next to a GameStop, and they were talking about that. I go, yeah, see, people still talking about that. Okay, what the hell else was happening? Oh, did I miss anything? That's true. I agree with that too, Dusty, right? I mean, if something did happen, I agree. It could be a crazy margin squeeze, right? But I don't know enough about it to I don't know. But that's why we talk about it, right? Because it could be something like that, even if it's not likely. Even if there's only just to throw a number out, 20% chance of that. Even if that's not likely, you know what I mean? It could be fun to talk about because if it ever did, you never see stuff like that too much. Okay. What else was happening? Again, it was down. Quad's down. Oh, quad's down. Anything happening there? Another opportunity. See, similar looking chart on this front. And this isn't an energy play. Yeah, that mentality, right, Dusty? which isn't necessarily, well, could be right, but just generally speaking, as you may know, Dusty, right? But just educational, right? That like lottery ticket type stuff isn't necessarily a good strategy, right? Over time, that type of stuff doesn't necessarily work out on average over time. Blah blah blah. That's not necessarily a good process to have. It could be depending on how sophisticated your process is. Blah blah blah. But just something to be cognizant of that can be a risky strategy to utilize over time. Even if if you do it once and it works out, you're like, oh, this is great. But then over time, it might break down. That's why it always comes down to the process. What's your process for investing? How are you finding your stocks? How are you holding them? What's that look like? That's why if you haven't seen the videos on the channel, on the Roaring Kitty channel, check those out, because that's where I talk about my investment style and stuff. I was worried that people will be like, if you don't know my style, then you don't really have context for what the hell it is I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay, actually, you should never be the basis of majority. So I can try. Hey, Hugo, don't tempt me. Hugo, you want to tempt me, Hugo? Tempt me. Let's do this, huh? Shit, kid. You want to do it? Maybe. Shh. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah. Nicola one. Let me pull that up. That's the thing. Usually those crazy type setups don't happen in no, I don't want to say like a GameStop. Like, it's usually in more obscure type stocks or heavily leveraged type stock. Look at this. What is this? Is it 9-bagger? Wow. 8-bagger anyway. It's usually like these weirder stocks, whether they're super speculative, or it's not usually in like stocks in secular decline where they can go crazy, unless they were super leveraged. Sometimes you see it with super leveraged companies. Yeah, Robot built it. Oh, has it got a foil cap? Oh, a little bit. It's got a little bit one. Yeah, Hugo. Am I bullish on Nicola? Yeah. Nah, this chart don't look good. This chart, no, I know. What's the latest on this story? The guy's out, right? The co-founder, isn't he out? Didn't he like delete his Twitter too? I did hear some rumblings about that. Look at that. When was this? Oh, it aligned right with It aligned right with everything else that was popping around that time. Value stocks, they were all popping around that time. Wow, crazy. Crazy. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the EV thesis. Don't get Hugo going on the EV stuff. He's here. He's paying attention. Don't get him on that path. This will be turned into a 5-hour stream. Well, yeah. So Cody, I'm trading for cash value right now. Well, that's it can still trade. Well, it can still trade well below. It has traded below cash in the past, right? It definitely can go down, right, in the short term and stuff. But generally speaking, I agree that at least provides a little bit margin of safety. But long term wise, short term, that stock price can go well below that. Make no mistake. But long term, I think that's a general reflection of that downside protection, I'd say. Hey, EO, welcome, EO. Cheers, mate. Recap of the stream so far. Now, we actually had some good dialogue earlier. Not much new though, I'd say. We're talking about some advertising aspects. We kind of reviewing some of these EO. Kind of talk about how because Rod was looking into Uber was looking into the GameStop website and the new app, and kind of seeing some affiliate marketing going on there. So it seems like this is kind of kicked into gear. Some of the stuff people were talking about here, and Uber shared some of the stuff on Twitter. So we talk about what that might look like for GameStop. Anything else? Nothing else major. Talk about the chart and price action type stuff, and then election type stuff. There you go, yo. I think that's roughly it. I forget. I'm bad. So sometimes when I finish up the stream too, and then I go to upload it, I forget, and I can't see the chat or anything. Yeah, an update. Yeah, I agree. Well, and we were thinking too, EO, if it would be a PR, they'd announce something before then, but I'm thinking it's going to be an update on the earnings call. And I don't know how the market will perceive it. It will depend on how substantive it is and all the other news in there too. But I'd like an update too. Okay. Done very well, Speckly. His own customers not getting them. Oh, specs. Okay. Pushing EV stocks a lot. Yep. Good for trading momentum. Whoa. Well, what about, well, except Hugo, except for BYDDF. I mean, some of them could be good value. You know, like that's the type that I'd buy into, right? Hey, what's Tesla doing? Oh, it's trying to figure out what it wants to do. I'm surprised it wasn't. Was it down today? Flat. I saw NASDAQ up so much. What's the weekly? Oh, it's trying to figure out what it wants to do. Boy. The RSI declining on the weekly. But the backdrop remains bullish. But the market, what's the market cap? Oh, it was up today. Is that right? Oh, because that was the weekly. What? Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Auto parts, coal down. Oh, yeah, look at PBD. Okay. Well, how big is it? No, still, okay, nominal position. Yeah. I was tracking it, just wondering what was, I mean, this thing's probably toast. This thing's got to be toast. Look at that shit. Oh. Ah. Nothing, no. Oh, Wyco, I have doubts. Oh, I read that one. Yeah. Tracked his analysis a bit. And just check the bonds. You know what I mean? Such a quick tell. Look at this shit. 2025. 2022. What is it? 2020? Look at those 2025s. 31. Look at the 2022. 47. That's not good. Had a little bit of a pop there when the stock price was popping. Okay. It's not totally done for yet. Looks bad, though. What was that other one we were looking at that looked bad? I was just looking at something. Oh, that looks bad. 2025. Probably toast. Probably maybe just get it out of there. Even the nominal position, I don't know. Criticized for BYDDF since years. That's why they don't talk about BY. Oh, okay, Hugo. He was criticized for it. I don't know how to check that price, Hugo. How the hell do I check that? The Hong Kong. Oh. Oh, it's BYD. Cool. Up again today. Up again. Wow. Things cranking, huh, Hugo? No chill. It's got no chill. Teneco down. There's concrete. I'm trying to get a feel for like the knee-jerk reaction to the let's see. Today's news. Today throughout the day it appeared as though Biden was going to win. But there was still some uncertainty. But the market was up, but small caps are down. Wood commodities, though. Look at this. Okay. This is a good day to check this type of stuff. Oh, look at that. I got a little, we'll keep that. We'll keep that there. Yeah, that looks terrific. Emerging markets up. Brick up. A good size move, too. China up. Brazil up. It's weird to me. What's value do today? Toll was up. Oh, was toll up? Okay. Toll was up. That's today, right? What? No, down. Oh, what the hell's going on? Is the spreadsheet not up to date? Okay, that makes sense to me. I was going to say, how the hell's toll going to be up 3%? Is this not up to date? Okay, so this was up. Is that today? Okay. Whoa, big move up. Oh, big move up. Oh, okay. EEM breaking out. Okay. So many people have been bullish on EM for so long, myself included. Is it finally happening? Jeez. Oh, boy. Okay, it's just one day. But that could be... That's what I mean. There was an indication that Biden was going to win today, and then markets like, all right. Just looking for sometimes the markets are just looking for a reason to do. You know what I mean? They just give them just give me that chance. Brick up 2, China up 2. China was looking good already, wasn't it? Wow. Okay. Oh, let's go through this. I wish I didn't put so many relatives in here. International versus the U.S. Kind of flat. This is weekly, though, right? Oh, this is monthly. Do I got a weekly? There we go. All right, nothing particularly crazy just yet. They were down at first, but then trading back up. EEM versus developed. Starting to break out. These are those relative charts, you know what I mean? I don't even remember what ITOT was. Just kind of want to get right to the damn regions. International. Oh, I see. Those are the tickers. Then I said international small cap. It's too early to tell. Too early to tell. Emerging markets, a little bit of a breakout. Too early to tell. I want a little bit more. Europe. Asia. Big Asia move. Brick. A little bit of a breakout. Early stages. Okay. This seems to be generally, there's Japan similar. China similar. Brazil. Struggling. South Korea. Got to see if there's follow through on this. I'll be curious. Kind of weird to me that is value down today? So a lot of some oil stuff is down, some commodity stuff was down. Home builders crushing it. Those have been tanks. They've been the biggest. I think collectively they've been the biggest winners in the Roaring Kitty portfolio this year. I did. I was pleased. I mean, I diversified across a whole bunch of those names. Some of them were huge winners, and they just cranked. I mean, so even some big names, 5-baggers. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, these probably be a solid double or triple looking out a couple of years. Then they 5-bagged in like 4 months. I'm like, geez, like. So I've been trimming all along the way. QQQ crushing it. What's that chart look like? Whoa. Watch the follow through. Watch the rest of this week. Sorry, I keep on talking about value. What the hell did value do today? Growth was up, but value, but interesting. It's weird to me that an international and emerging kind of cranking with alongside growth and value struggling. So this just isn't up to date. And value is down. There you go. Boom. See that? Oh, can I do this? Oh, that's value. So stupid. I said this before, I kind of grouped those together in my mind, you know, like emerging markets, value stocks, commodities, materials, small cap. They kind of, let's see what happens. Kind of a little bit of an odd divergence. And banks were down today too. So that's what I mean. Banks, value, energy, traditional value stuff down, but emerging's up. But I feel like those tend to go together. What did the dollar do? Why didn't I check that yet? Down. And I was watching rates a bit. I saw rates kind of jump all over the place. But, okay. Is that today? Yeah. All right. Kind of curious. That's the quick knee-jerk reaction from the market. Really cranking on growth and some international / emerging stocks, not value. Not GME, not yet anyway. Let's watch the follow through. Because we're talking about tailwind too, right? Tailwind. Oh, with IW, yeah. So IWN probably. Oh, it gapped up yesterday. That's right. It's hanging on. It's hanging in there, right? It's you want to get it up. It's got to break that. If it breaks 170, there you go. Okay. No, not much. Okay. Oh, I did miss some shit. Talking Cybertruck stuff, Musk. You're wrong on both sides, Dusty. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, it seems like a tough one. Jorge, no, I don't. No picks, no nothing like that's not my style. Check out Jorge. Check out my investment style videos on the channel. That's not my type, like that short term type stuff. yeah. Hey, Space Burrito. Welcome, Space Burrito. Cheers, mate. Because they comprise the integrity of the glass. Oh, is that true? Space Burrito? Is that true? I didn't know that. Is that what they said? Did they? I didn't even know that they tried to explain what happened. I mean, it was hilarious, but that could make sense. They comprise the integrity of the glass by hitting the bottom of the door first. Interesting. It seems possible, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know enough about that shit. I'm not like following it closely or anything, but that seems possible. Interesting. Well, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, not cool. I mean, fascinating if that's what happened, right? Because everyone shit on them. But if there was just a legitimate reason, so they should have started with the window. That's interesting. Oh, it had to block the rock at any moment. Oh, okay. So Hugo's saying even if it did, okay. I mean, now I'm just curious about it, right? Because it was just a little bit. It had to block the rock at any moment. Oh, Jorge, you gotta check out those videos. I don't have any short-term forecasts on GameStop, Jorge. Short-term is too tough. Short-term is too tough. I look out longer term. Like in that investment style video, I say how usually my style is like 3 to 24 months. But if it's the short term, I'm just getting lucky. But yeah, no short-term predictions. Cause splintering to run the gap. It's not tough. Oh, okay. Up the glass internally, then fractured on test. Oh, okay. Between layers. I didn't even. Is it weird that I hadn't even heard that explanation? You know what I mean? But that kind of makes sense to me. Boy, yeah. If that's what happened, yikes. They're probably like, son of a. But. Idea from you. I don't. That's my style. My style, nah. Sorry, Jorge. I don't. That's not my style. I like to have higher conviction in my analysis, and to have higher conviction type stuff, I require a longer term outlook. That's just other people might be different. That's cool. Nah. Okay, so momentum was up too. It wasn't just tech. It wasn't just growth, but huge up move. You know what I mean? That's a huge gap up. But look, it's not like breaking through. You want to see if you want to see, I want to see it like follow through on some of this stuff. Huge gap up, and it's a bullish indication of what could come. But you know what I mean? Like the big move will be if it starts breaking through that stuff. Where's that? Where's QQQ again? Same thing. So it's the same chart, right? You're gonna expect that, but. Even if you do that very short-term shit, right? You wanna mess around here? Boom. It's not even above that. That'll brief. So that's what I mean. Watch the follow through. See what happens the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. But then if it breaks out, it's kind of bullish. That's what I mean. The market's sometimes just looking for a reason either to keep on running, to inflect, to change things around. That's why I was thinking like, I thought this around March and April too, where that could have been an inflection point where on a relative basis, maybe growth starts to weaken a little bit relative to some other styles. Even a new president, U.S. president, can kind of trigger some stuff, but not necessarily. But I just think of those big types of news things that can cause people to think differently about stuff. If you want to good investments, think about I talk about WWR. What's that? Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm intrigued by this bullish sentiment abroad, though. Like, if this were red too, I would have been like, damn. You wouldn't expect that with a Biden win. You know what I mean? So, it makes sense in the context of a Biden win. So now I'm curious if Trump had won, would small caps have cranked? And that's the thing. When it appeared as though, that's the thing. When it appeared, it's almost like small caps were selling off no matter what. You know what I mean? Not that they sold off. It ended up flat, but if I recall correctly, last night when the odds in favor of Trump were ticking up, and it was at the time was looking like things were moving in his direction, small caps were still selling off. If I recall correctly, were they? Now I kind of forget. I knew it was underperforming the other indexes. I'm pretty sure. Hey, Marcenci, what up? Welcome. So many companies. Talking lithium stuff. Hugo knows his lithium shit, I think. What else can I sort by here? Can I sort by what would be a good one to sort by? Oh, percent to 52-week high. So talk about a screening tool, huh? Sometimes screening for me is as simple as this shit. 14. So, okay, look at this. Okay, so BTU, but that's looking toast. CDEV, that's looking interesting. Wasn't there buying in June? There was. We looked into this on the stream a while back. Interesting. So these are the stocks that have the biggest upside relative to their 52-week high, right? A lot of them are dogs. Make no mistake. They're priced at this point relative to the 52-week high because they suck. Not because they suck, but because like they're really struggling and they may not be able to bounce back, right? There could be good reason for that, but it's often a good starting point. Like PBF there, boom. IO is a super speculative energy play, but one where is he the founder, Lapierre? But he's been heavily involved in the company for a while. A lot of energy names, right? Ton of energy names. Forum, TGI, aerospace and defense. Some of these charts looking kind of interesting. It's looking kind of interesting, right? Holding up this whole time, not doing much, kind of just waiting to do something. That one looks interesting. No buying, heavily leveraged. But I kind of liked it too, aerospace and defense. I don't deal in that too much. So as far as a speculative name, if things were looking okay, I thought, okay, I'll deal in that. Then I was just waiting. Anyone buy that shit? Got to be checking whale wisdom too, right? See who's owning it, see who bought it last quarter. We'll get an update when? Next week. We're going to get an update on this shit next week. And I see who owns most of it, right? No one really. Who had the biggest, that's really it. Who owns most of it? No one really owns it. Kind of can. And who owns it as a big chunk of their portfolio? So I'll sort by that percentage of oh, you can't see. So these are the names. I'll sort by ownership, right? And then just go boom, boom, boom. Just a quick check. None of these stick out to me as being that meaningful. And then I'll sort by percentage of portfolio of those. Who has a bigger Maple Rock Capital? I don't know them, so I would probably dig into them. No one really. So that's always a little bit of a But I know, Toll's definitely owned that in the past. Super leverage though. It's risky. CCL. Wow. CCL still up there. See, most things aren't. You should have saw this shit in March and April, right? I mean, everything was like, there were lots of 10-baggers. A lot of energy names, huh? Energy back in the gutter, back in the gutter. And you would think that with the Biden win that it would struggle a bit. I mean, but even with Trump in the presidency, some of these were still dogs. You know what I mean? So I think people weight that too much. I mean, I'm talking about right now because it's election week, right? But I think people think about that stuff too much. Oh, I got one of the stickers on me. My daughter put a whole bunch of the stickers on me. TTI, yep, that was one. Another energy play. Similar looking charge. This one looks a bit better. You know what I mean? It's already doubled. It's holding its double. Boom, 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 and not really selling off. That could be a good one. Okay. Man, a lot of energy shit. Okay, just thought I'd check that real quick. Sometimes I'll just do something real quick. Okay. Nicola, yeah. Yeah, lithium stuff. I don't know too much about that lithium stuff. That are a lot of tech that are better than lithium batteries. But oh, Hugo, my wife, my wife saw Marty. My wife and daughter saw Marty at the supermarket, but he was charging. And so I forgot to tell her beforehand that she should look to see what batteries the robot was using. Beep boop, but he was charging. And so I'll have to check next time. Next time I go, I'm definitely gonna look. Oh, what was the name? It started with a J. Whoever they partnered with, didn't it? I forget. All right, so I'm glad I got to see what the hell the market was doing today. This is good. A little bit helpful for me. Not that it's anything groundbreaking, but I was just curious about that knee-jerk. Look at materials selling off, too. The U.S. dollar was down, though. But Biden, that's probably okay. But emerging markets, interesting. This stuff will all level out. Like, it'll be neutralized within a couple of weeks, I think. We'll see. Electrovia. Thank you, Hugo. No, but I don't. Well, maybe Electrovia would be on Marty himself. Maybe because if it shows the batteries. But I was trying to think who they partnered with. It started with like, oh, was it Jubal? It wasn't Jubal. But I knew I could just check that presentation and pull up the presentation. If next time before I go, I was gonna pull up the presentation and just double check the name. Yeah, it was Jubal. Was it Jubal or was it a different one? Or J-Bill? Jabal? I forget. What about some of these other ones that I was watching? These aren't really. These are just, how come these broke? Oh, what happened to MGI? Oh, that's MoneyGram. Oh, because I didn't add it. I got to add it. Oh, okay. I thought it was a different ticker. MG. I thought it was MG. Okay, so there's a lot of energy names on there. What happened to Quad? X out of some of this shit. Too much. This is a family-owned business, Quadracci. But Bill Miller had bought into this too. I had already owned it, but did I own it? I had been, I think I owned it, or I added. It's leveraged, and it's in secular decline, but it was a question of whether or not they could reinvent themselves. Anyone talking about it? The chart don't look that good. The chart looks like shit. Let's be real. But it had like legitimate free cash flows. So sometimes with a family-owned business, you like to see that. I don't want to say you like to see family-owned business. You like to see. It's nice when you see like a founder who still owns the business and owns a good chunk of the business, or even a family who founded the business and the family still controls it, so long as it has been a well-run business. And my favorite example of this, which was a big winner for me, I didn't reap everything. Make no mistake. I sold out way too early. I was still kind of. First of all, I wasn't using technical analysis back then. But Skechers was a 10-bagger. You know what I mean? But the family, was it Greenberg? Greenberg. Pretty good. I remembered. Okay. So, but they control this shit. Look at this. Oh, they don't control it. My bad. They own 15%. Wait. Oh, they get the B shares. They do control it. They control. So you'll see this with family-owned businesses where there's A shares, so they don't own that much. But the B shares, they get like, what is it, 10-1 votes or something like that. You know what I mean? So if you got the B shares, you control it. So the family controlled it. But I remember looking at them like, yo, I was looking at it right here. This sell-off right here. They've done a split. Boy, you don't see too many stocks that I invest in split. You know what I mean? If they're splitting, they're reverse splitting. And it ended up going up so much that but look at how much it was overbought. Just crazy. So I was, again, if you leaned on technical analysis, so long as the fundamental story continued to tell this bullish story, and earnings were temporarily depressed. But anyway, sorry, I'm going on. Who cares? It doesn't look particularly cheap right now. Look, it hasn't done much. You know, I haven't looked at this. This was like GameStop. Like I looked at GameStop back in the day. Haven't looked at it since. And so Skechers was in that same. I was in that same. It was in the like in my mind. It's grouped together for me because it was around the same time frame. But it's never gotten cheap enough for me. Not even close. And so I just don't even. I never even pull up the fundamentals because it's not even close. But the GameStop was for the longest time. I'm like, oh, that's not cheap at $50. Not cheap at $40, $30, $20. Never even pulled up the fundamentals. And then finally it got back. So I'd love maybe Skechers come back someday. You know, these sometimes they have trendy products, right? Sometimes the products are in favor, sometimes don't care. It's like fashion, you know what I mean? But anyway, but it had been historically well run, like a solid equity growth even through their weak years. It was like 15% year over year, inclusive of the dividends and stuff, and over like a 20-year period. I'm like, damn. And so when I saw they controlled it, I'm like, yo, this is pretty good. And then it turned into be a 10-bagger. I wasn't modeling 10-bagger at the time. I'm just like, yeah, this looks cheap. But this is how technical analysis can help you too. You don't sell out too early. It can assist along that way. I mean, of course, earnings, as long as earnings growing, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this is just a crazy, crazy run. So, but anyway, sometimes you see like with Quad, I'm not as, I don't have as high conviction in them as the Greenberg family based on the performance that I saw when I looked at the fundamentals. But I did see, I'm pretty sure Bill Miller bought in for his personal trust. Check this shit. Is this it? What would it be? 13? No. Ah, shit. It was in February. There we go. SC13G. Watch this. This is William Miller, Bill Miller. Right before, this is in February 20th. For the Bill Miller Living Trust. You know what I mean? Like, that's, so the family, I'm like, I don't know. Plus, the chart's looking sus. And, but it was generating cash flow. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe they can pull something off here. And I had seen it. I didn't participate in this, but I remember watching it and be like, damn, the free cash flows did work out. Like, I didn't buy in at that time because I'm like, I don't know about that. And then it 4x'd. And now it's looking real, real bad again. So I'd like to see a little bit more traction here. It hasn't been this low since March. Wow. They need to do something. They were paying a fat dividend. Are they still paying that dividend? I'm like, there's no way you can keep the dividend. But that's the thing. If it's controlled by this family, they'll pay themselves the dividend. You know what I mean? I think. I forget off the top of my head. Yeah, Quadracci, the B shares. See, oh, do they not? Oh, they don't control it. Oh, they do. Quad Voting Trust. Oh, you can't see that. It's kind of like they got all the B shares. So I don't know. I'm undecided. As I recall, they had free cash flows, but they were in secular decline. So it's just a matter of if they could reinvent themselves. Sizable business, though. Like a good chunk of revenues. Do I got it in here? Yeah, $3.4 billion in revenues. This ain't no... It's a real company. $3.4 billion in revenues? Look at the price to sales. So sales to price 28.7. What's the inverse of that? It trades at 3% of revenues, just like GameStop traded at, right? So it trades, you know what I mean? Like, I got to do that math in my head because I don't remember. So, but those are the types of things that get my attention. When you trade at a massive, when you're buying a lot of sales for a cheap price, like Quad, I like to see that. PBF, same thing. So you can see look at, they're both at 28. You can see the types of stocks that get my attention because I like to, there could be significant upside if they can navigate through these tough times they may be battling. In the case of Quad, I think they needed to reinvent themselves. I haven't checked it out in a while. PBF, I believe they're they're a refiner. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't think. That's my opinion. But except they got to deal with some credit risk and some near-term uncertainty. But if they can, it's probably tremendous upside. But I'd love it to be even halved again. Do you know what I mean? Remember, we were checking to see too if they're going to be any buying. Where's that buying? Hey, what the hell's the buying? But I didn't see. I've been watching this. Remember, I said last week after they reported they're going to buy, they didn't buy anything just yet. Did the bonds perk up? Still kind of weak. Come on. One more halved. You know what I mean? Like, masochist, right? It's one of the biggest positions in the Roaring Kitty portfolio. I don't give a shit. I want 10-bagger. 5-bagger, 10-bagger. Anyone talk about that recently? I wish they'd buy. Like, if I see them buying, then it's gonna light a fire under my ass to get with it. Jay Booth, what up? What up, Jay Booth? Oh, ooh, Johan, I like that. Johan talking about. So I as I was kicking off the song, I'm like, oh, I should have looked up. I should have looked up some music to pick for this. So Johan saying Mortal Kombat music in the voice. Oh, I don't know if I can do the voice, but you know what I mean. What if I? Oh, they want to. Yeah, okay. All right, let me see if I can track that down. So I can only use like the free. Well, I have if y'all find any music at Epidemic Music. What, can I pop that up? Where is that? Do I got a link? I got it up. Epidemic Sound. I mean, y'all get y'all doing stuff. I get that, but yeah, I don't know if I had never heard of Epidemic Sound, so y'all didn't. But I got like a subscription there for some tunes. But I'll see what I can find that will be appropriate. But I like that, Johan. Yeah, whomever, right? Whichever wins. It's fun. That sounds familiar. No, don't know it. Oh, Fang. Excuse me. Interesting looking chart. Wait. That's a terrible looking chart. I don't know about that, EO. What'd you say? Like a Chinese Zillow. Well, Zillow's a good business model, right? Last 2 quarters, online live tours taking off. Their online live tours taking off, and things are looking good for a reversal. All right, interesting story. On the flip side, RSI slightly improving each time. Oh, your time in reversals. Fair enough. That's fair enough. Obviously, you know I'm not. Look at we know GME's chart, right? But if you break it down, you know what I mean. You talk about time reversals. You break it down to just that 1-year chart. Don't look that bad at all. Look at the half-year chart. You know what I mean. You don't even see this stuff in some technical analysts will be like, well, back out, zoom out. You know, when in doubt, zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. But for seeking opportunities like EO, but okay. Oh, so EO, you timed it better than me. August, huh? What was it that caught your attention in August? It didn't break out. There was no news or anything. It's fun. Have kind of taken off. The online tour, I mean, if that's a big part of the business, that's interesting. Is anyone talking about it? Right off the bat, I tend to have lower conviction in these types of plays, right? Because I can't get a handle on their, if they're not using US GAAP or IFRS for accounting methods, it's hard to, I don't know who this is. That was 2019, so nothing much. 10% premium on capital raise. New CFO. Yikes. But, hey, okay, this was August. Wait, CFO. Yeah, okay. Not going to be any. Oh, they got some 13D. Who's that? I don't know who that is. It's not going to be in US dollars, is it? It is. Good. All right. Interesting. Skills? I don't know. Skills. 5 to 10 bagger. Wow. Taking 5 to 10 bagger, huh? Here's the thing about this is that I don't disagree with you. Look at this. This thing was at 300. Wow, that's really scary, dude. that's really bearish. But it's just not my. It's usually not my style. It's hard for me to have a lot of confidence in these types of plays. But there's people have been talking about names on this stream where I'm like, oh, it's not my style. Then they go up double, triple. You know what I mean? So there's plenty out there. So it's not, I don't really have a strong opinion. Oh yeah, what's marijuana stocks doing? They were down? Down. It's Canopy. Canopy down 7%? Remember those charts that weren't looking good for many of them. Canopy looked the best. Right before break. All right, thanks for sharing, y'all. I was just curious. Okay, so you saw the right before the breakup because fundamentals were good, which was true. And short squeeze float at 100% was a no-brainer. Didn't need news. I use fundamental analysis and MACD divergence. MACD divergence. MAC divergence. MACD divergence. MACD divergence. I haven't looked at that shit in a while. I got it on here? That's the default. Hey, how's it looking right now in your opinion? Hey, EO, what do you think of the MACD? What do you think? What's your latest take on the MACDs these days? Oh, for your entry. What's the take these days? Still bullish until that one crosses that one? Boy, I forget off the top of my head. I took the time to learn all these ones. I don't have my book handy. I used that tome. Was it John Murphy, that book? And but I don't use it all the time, so I always need to refresh my memory on what they are. I just remember thinking, I was too. I did some mini case studies looking at a whole bunch of names and stuff, and some of them clearly followed certain trends, but I couldn't rely on them. But I'm gonna be curious what your take is on this one currently. Unless I see they improved their tech. Rob, peace out, Rob. Have a nice night. One of two real estate websites in China. Blue Sky Plan. Oh yeah. To accelerate the adoption of EV. That's what you were talking about last time, Hugo, right? Yep. And then didn't we see that in that article too that we pulled up that day? What's the futures doing right now? Is there? Do we got an update? No. Wow, falling through it today. Wow, small cap. Not a big move, but still, it's just so funny to see it up again. It's like it don't matter who's president, you know. Growth gonna crush it, tech gonna crush it, and small cap and value, nah, kid. Damn, wow, interesting. Look at the rest. Everything else is up. No, they don't open yet. Okay. Oh, 10-12. Okay. We'll probably wrap up here soon. Hey, we did. It was a quiet day going on here. We still had some good conversation about stuff, kind of revisiting some of these things. What do I gotta do? I want to retweet some of those things. I'll retweet some other things too. And then we'll watch what happens tomorrow. I don't know. Did it close above 11? What's the after hour stuff doing? What do you think? Above or below 50,000? Above or below 50,000? 30,000. Nada. 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 I'm more the broad market actually. Kind of curious to see how it ends the week. You know what I mean? And then follow through next week too. Also, are we gonna have a president-elect by the time this week ends? Huh? Oh yeah. Let me try to get that music too. Try to remember that. I'll pull it up right there. Sick. Okay. And then price action. I mean, if there's Jordan was saying there could be news these next couple of days. I'm not so sure. But then next week the consoles are here, right? Well, let's see what happens next. Like next week will be. Next week we'll have to see what happens. Make the prices go down. It's okay. All right. So EO, a similar technical view, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, talk about being so confident in their outlook, huh? Okay, so Dusty, you think we're going to have a good idea late tonight or tomorrow, but nothing official for a few weeks. Okay, that's right. And then Philly reminded me of, how many days was it for Bush and Gore back in 2000? I forgot it was that long. So I think you're right, Dusty. It could be with the recounts and the lawsuits. That's right. That's what I mean. Like, that's the big variable for me is like, if they do announce Biden, how does Trump react? And then that could take time, right? I'll be curious about that, how that unfolds. But okay, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Yeah, I haven't taken a peek at the MACD type stuff, but you say it's okay, so I assume it's kind of confirming kind of what we're seeing on the rest of the technical type stuff. Oh, PA won't be official until day after tomorrow because of great. Okay. Okay. All right. So we might not even have full confirmation. All right, just curious. Just curious. I know. Can you imagine if we have the tie? It's looking like when I was doing a quick take from what I was seeing, it looked like Biden might end up with 270. I'm like, holy. But tie, yeah, that'd be something, huh? They talk about it every election, but yeah, Biden could. In fact, it looked like he was gonna even without it. I think. I don't know. But right, it might not matter. So you have to see. That he took those whole northern states, when he took them all, it was like, all right, there you go. That should settle it. That was the big question mark. All right, I'm going to piece it. Y'all have a nice night tonight. Oh, let me finish this shit. Have a nice night. Have a nice rest of your week. Let's see if we get some resolution for those who care. I know some folks don't. On that front, and then we'll just keep watching the GameStop price action, huh? Maybe we'll have more to talk about on Friday. But even still, we still had some good stuff to talk about today, so it was good. It was good. All right, cheers, yo. You have a nice night. Dusty, peace out. Hugo, as always, have a nice night, my man. Jorge, peace out. You have a nice night. Space Burrito, cheers, cheers, cheers. Peace out, Space. Anyone else in there? Yo. Rob Wolf already peaced out. All right. Chill. Have a great night. You too, Dusty. When we see, what am I going to roll out with here? I'll try to scope out some songs for Friday, too. I'll see what I can find. Let me do... I'll do that one today. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me pop that up now, Hugo. I forgot to look at that today. And I almost want to go to the supermarket sooner rather than later just to see, because I swear, Hugo, if I go and I see that, that could change my thinking. You know what I mean? Or one of those you see what you see, and you're like, all right, this is a real thing, you know? Maybe, we'll see. All right, have a nice night, everybody. Peace out. Cheers.